Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. Let SBS broadcast your sporting event. We have experience and can generate excitement and permanent digital memories for your team.
Tonight. That time, finally a goal for the Stampede!
We have professional videographers using high-definition modern-day cameras, color analysts, and play-by-play announcers with state-of-the-art, classy graphical scoreboards to keep you updated. Plus, we have commercials to advertise your team, club, or sponsor, and us. Plus, we do pregame and postgame interviews.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the postgame show brought to you by Marion Central Catholic. My name's Kyle Smith. Well, my name doesn't matter. These young ladies matter. It's senior night as the Hurricanes win a battle down the stretch, 48-46.
Hi, I'm Carrie Kramer. I swim 50 breast, 50 free, and 100 back.
Whatever your sports broadcast needs, we are at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Check us out and become part of the digital sporting world. Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. For those of you who would like to broadcast or live stream your event, or maybe make a highlight tape, but would like a sponsor to fund the event, SBS has a myriad of ways to advertise your sponsor during our broadcasts. We have commercials. We have on-air reads by the announcers.
Albatross Physical Therapy and Wellness specializes in pain-free.
We have graphics, and we have watermarks. Finally, Sports Broadcast Solutions can create a commercial for you or your sponsor. Whatever your sports broadcast needs, we are at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Check us out and become part of the digital sporting world.
There's only one present-day Major League Baseball team to never advance to the World Series, and you guessed it, the unluckiest of those MLB franchises is the one and only Seattle Mariners. In case you believe in curses, Mariners fans like to blame the team's unlucky ways on the curse of the Seattle Pilots. If you didn't know, the Pilots were actually the first MLB team in the history of Seattle baseball, but because fans didn't come to the games, Bud Selig and his ownership group bought the Pilots for $10.8 million to bring the franchise to Milwaukee. The Milwaukee Brewers began operations in 1970, meaning the Pilots only lasted 1 year in Seattle. The Pilots filed for bankruptcy on April 1st, 1970, and since then, Mariners fans have been subjected to lackluster baseball. If you're a fan of superstitions, the legend goes that because enough fans didn't attend the Pilot home games, a curse was put on the Brewers and any franchise that would materialize in Seattle thereafter. Since the Pilots left in 1970, the Brewers and Mariners have only played in one combined World Series. Even though the Mariners won 116 regular season games in 2001, the M's still didn't advance to the World Series after having to face off against the New York Yankees during the American League Championship Series. Fans like to point to the curse as the Pilots could have stayed in Seattle if there were more fans at the games. However, according to numerous reports, the situation at Sick's Stadium was so dire that fans couldn't even flush the toilets during home games. Sick's Stadium was reportedly called a pig pen by Oakland Athletics owner Chuck Finley, and the home of the Pilots only allowed 11,000 fans entering the 1969 season. Fans had every right to avoid attending Pilots games, especially since ticket prices for the Pilots were some of the highest in the league. Still, it's quite a coincidence that when the Mariners were 3 weeks away from playing in the 2001 American League Division Series, tragedy struck at the Twin Towers. Do I believe in curses? Absolutely not. But the Yankees were media darlings that October after what happened at the World Trade Center. The talk of baseball prior to September 11th was Ichiro Suzuki's incredible rookie season, and the Mariners looking to obtain the best regular season record in MLB history. But after 9/11, the Mariners were considered more of the indifferent Pacific Coast ball club than the rooting interests of fans. Bud Selig bought the Pilots, and since then, the Brewers have only played in one World Series. They've only won 5 division titles, and they've only played in the National League Championship Series twice since changing leagues in 1997. Did the baseball gods curse the Brewers for not allowing the Pilots enough time to establish a Seattle franchise? Time will only tell. For those of you who aren't superstitious, the reason for the Mariners' misfortunes have to do with crappy scouting, subsequent lowly draft selections, and overall player development. However, the history of low attendance continued with the early years of Mariners baseball. After the Commissioner's Office awarded Seattle another MLB franchise following the breach of contract lawsuit against the American League, the Mariners continue to have low attendance numbers, similar to the Pilots. The Mariners wouldn't have a winning season until 1991, and even when the ball club showed signs of winning, the M's traded away starting pitcher Bill Swift. Swift won the ERA crown in 1992 and finished third in Cy Young voting in 1993. Swift was traded to San Francisco following that 1991 winning season in Seattle. Things started to turn around during the early 90s once the new owner, Hiroshi Yamauchi, signed manager Lou Piniella. The Mariners would go on to win its first division title in 1995 and win its first postseason series. It was Seattle's first postseason appearance since the franchise began operations in 1977. In fact, if the Mariners hadn't won the 1995 American League West Division, the franchise could have easily left Seattle. The California Angels blew a 13-game lead over Seattle, and the Mariners defeated the Angels 9-1 in the one-game playoff for the AL West Division crown. But, as per the curse of the Seattle Pilots, the M's always find themselves just short of an American League pennant. The 95 ALCS featured two unlikely teams, the M's and the Cleveland Guardians. The Guardians, who hadn't won the pennant since 1954, were something of an underdog themselves. The 1995 season would be Seattle's third ever winning season, but they wouldn't play in the Fall Classic. The Indians/Guardians won the 1995 American League Championship Series 4-2, with the Mariners dumping their last three in the toilet. In fact, the Mariners went scoreless the last 15 innings of the ALCS. While the Mariners lost the Championship Series, it's still a season that many Seattle baseball fans remember fondly. Ken Griffey Jr.'s famous game-winning run in Game 5 of the division series against the Yankees inevitably led to the development of a video game, Ken Griffey Jr.'s winning run. Edgar Martinez's game-winning double from Game 5 was key in enticing the King County Council to vote on a stadium funding package to build the modern-day Safeco Field. With baseball now securely in Washington, the Mariners look to avenge its 1995 ALCS disappointment with a 1997 Fall Classic appearance. To do so, they need to first defeat the best record in the AL, the Baltimore Orioles. Incredibly, the Mariners were supposed to play the Indians, but due to the old rules of division foes not being allowed to play each other during the division series, the Mariners had to play against the best record in the American League, despite having a better record than Cleveland. Would the Mariners have fared better against Cleveland in a rematch from 1995? Who knows? Regardless, the M's lost the 1997 division series in 4 games. Randy Johnson was awful in the series, losing both games. The M's were even worse at home, as they lost games 1 and 2 by a combined score of 18-6. Seattle won Game 3 in Baltimore, but they only managed 2 hits at Camden Yards during Game 4, with one of those hits being a solo shot by Martinez. With basically no offense in Game 4, Randy Johnson gave up 2 runs in the bottom of the first inning, which turned out to be more than enough for the Orioles to eliminate the M's. Seattle would get back to the postseason in 2000, this time as the wildcard representative. In its first and still last ever postseason sweep, the Mariners surprisingly swept the number 1 seed in the White Sox to advance to its second ever ALCS. This time around, Derek Jeter and the Yankees achieved revenge against the Mariners. The M's fought hard, but the Yanks were just too much for Seattle. A 6-game playoff series win saw the Yankees eventually sweep the Mets for their 26th World Series title. The Yankees dominated the Mariners, as 3 of New York's wins were blowout victories. The Mariners' pitching staff just could not contain the Yankees, which was really unsettling because A-Rod led the ALCS in total bases. Seattle once again took on the Yankees in 2001, this time without Alex Rodriguez. However, Ichiro Suzuki won the unfathomable Gold Glove, Silver Slugger, Rookie of the Year, and MVP awards all in the same season as Seattle's leadoff hitter. The 2001 ALCS turned out to be even worse than 2000. With everyone seemingly rooting for the Yankees due to the events of 9/11, the Yankees became the must-watch underdogs. Remember, the Mariners entered the playoffs as the number 1 overall seed, but unlike the 1998 Yankees, who won 114 games, the 2001 Mariners didn't have a superstar besides Ichiro. Brett Boone had a career year with 37 homers and 141 RBI, but could he continue that 6% home run probability into the postseason? The 116-win Mariners entered the ALCS with Ichiro on a hot streak. Ichiro batted .600 in the 5-game division series against the Guardians, but he couldn't continue that streak into the championship series, as Seattle's most valuable player only hit .222 in the 5-game ALCS. The Yanks easily took care of the Mariners 4-1. Aaron Seeley lost all 3 of his decisions in the 2001 postseason, including Game 5 at Yankee Stadium, where those damn Yankees destroyed the M's 12-3. Mariners legend Edgar Martinez was a non-factor against the Yanks, and fellow 2001 All-Star John Olerud didn't fare much better. Since 2001, the Mariners have not made the postseason. As if the baseball gods hate Mariners fans, the M's have been eliminated on the last day of the season in 2014 and 2021. The M's have the longest playoff drought in all the 4 American professional sports. One of the main reasons for this is the absolutely bizarre trade that was made in 2008. The Mariners somehow thought that Eric Bedard, who had never played an All-Star game, was their missing piece. They gave away their top prospects in Adam Jones, Chris Tillman, and 3 other players for Bedard. Jones became a 5-time All-Star outfielder and helped lead the Orioles back to prominence in the American League East Division. Tillman was a 2003 All-Star who was a major contributor during Baltimore's run in the 2014 postseason. Remember, the Mariners finished 1 win shy of a wild card berth in 2014, but they traded all 5 of those players to Baltimore for Bedard. Bedard finished his career with a losing record, an ERA just under 4, and only lasted 4 seasons in Seattle. Things have been so bad in Seattle that Ichiro broke George Sisler's single-season hit record during a losing season, and Felix Hernandez won the Cy Young with a losing Mariners ball club. So are the Mariners cursed? Well, it sure is weird that the Brewers have never won the World Series, and the Mariners have never appeared in the World Series. If the former Seattle Pilot players wanted to curse Milwaukee and Seattle, it sure is working. Finally, keep in mind that the big unit, A-Rod, Ken Griffey the Kid Jr., and Edgar Papi Martinez were all on the same team, and the Mariners still couldn't make the World Series in 1995 and 1997. Adding insult to injury, A-Rod and the big unit won the World Series once they left Seattle. But do you think that the Mariners are cursed? Why can't the Emerald City ever host a World Series game? Make sure to comment below and subscribe to Sports Broadcast Solutions. It's November 4th, 2001. The 5-1 Chicago Bears are hosting the 4-2 Cleveland Browns. This is the last year of Old Soldier Field, as the Bears will have to play in Champaign next season while new Soldier Field gets built. Champaign is, of course, the home of the Illinois Fighting Illini, but it's located nowhere near Chicago. We'll talk about that storyline in a minute, but for now, let's analyze this moment. An overtime game is thrilling in its own right, but how the Bears exactly got here is simply remarkable. Overtime just got started. But for Bears fans, they know from previous experience that anything can happen early on during OT. Why is that exactly the case? To fully understand, let's rewind. The Bears entered Week 7 with a record of 5-1, but really, they should at least be 4-2. 15-point deficit halfway through the fourth quarter, with starting quarterback Jim Miller exiting the game in the second quarter with a left hip pointer. Things looked very bleak for the Bears, but Chicago overcame deficits of 28-9 and 31-15 to somehow force overtime. Shane Matthews, the backup quarterback for Chicago, went against the odds and completed 12 straight passes late in the second half. Even still, the game seemed practically lost when the Bears offense faced 4th and 3 at the 49ers' 8-yard line. But Matthews threw a frozen rope to tight end John Davis to keep the chains moving. It also took an official's review for the Bears to cut the deficit down to 31-29.
There wasn't indisputable evidence to overrule the initial call, allowing David Terrell's touchdown reception to stand. Still, the Bears needed a 2-point conversion to tie the game. Gut check time for the Bears, and on their first ever 2-point conversion of the season, offensive coordinator John Shoup relied on the rookie tailback for an I-formation 2-yard run. Luck with Jeff Garcia, Garrison Hurst, and Terrell Owens all primed to make the Pro Bowl. Mariucci trusted his offense against the usually stellar Bears defense. It turned out to be the wrong move. Trusting in Owens, Garcia connected with the future Hall of Famer over the middle, but Owens choked and dropped it, going right into the hands of Mike Brown. The rookie safety caught the drop pass and ran into the end zone for a pick-6 victory. Just like that, the Bears are riding a 5-game winning streak headed into another home game against Cleveland. Remember how we said this is the last year at nostalgic Soldier Field? Chicago was reeling from the September 11th terrorist attacks, especially since it was quickly found out through United States law enforcement that the Sears Tower could have been one of the targets on a suicide mission. Al-Qaeda notes from a captured terrorist operative proved that Osama bin Laden originally wanted to target the largest buildings in Los Angeles and Chicago, but then ultimately changed his mind. Chicago firefighters even volunteered to drive to New York City to help out at Ground Zero, knowing quite well that the Sears Tower could have been just as bad as the inevitable tragedy of the Twin Towers kamikaze mission. As the country continued to recover from the 3,000 people dead on that fateful day, the 2001 season turned out to be a true underdog year for the Bears. The Bears, who hadn't won the division in 10 years and hadn't even played in the postseason since 1994, entered Week 8 in first place of the NFC Central Division. In the last year of Soldier Field, in a season that had to start Week 2 one Sunday later due to the events of 9/11, the Bears helped the healing process of their fans by winning games in the most unconventional of ways. In 3 of the Bears' 5 consecutive wins, Matthews or Miller each threw at least 2 interceptions per game. After scoring just 9 points through the first 7 quarters of their season, the Bears scored 14 unanswered points to beat the Vikings, then demolished the Falcons and Bengals. For a franchise who won't even be playing in Chicago in 2002, a division championship this season is very crucial to try and lure free agents. Remember, the Bears had to settle on Champaign-Urbana to be its home next season, with Memorial Stadium having 11,000 more seat capacity than Ryan Field, the home of the Northwestern Wildcats in nearby Evanston. Having the games at the University of Notre Dame was an appealing destination, but with most of the fans living in Illinois versus Indiana, President Ted Phillips and the franchise decided that Memorial Stadium would be the best fit. New Soldier Field will be ready by the 2003 home opener. Richard M. Daley, along with the NFL and city officials, decided to invest $587 million to renovate Soldier Field. Only $200 million is coming from the Bears. The other $387 million came from bonds that would be retired from the city hotel tax. The Bears also had to take out a $100 million loan from the NFL for stadium improvements, but they plan to recoup their expenses from a personal seat license fee at New Soldier Field. In other words, this is a very expensive venture from the Charter franchise. The new stadium will have 61,500 seats, 8,000 club seats, and 133 luxury suites. But there will be fewer tailgate lots around the stadium to make room for its 2,500 space underground parking structure between the new Soldier Field and the Field Museum. As such, it's very important for the Bears to remain relevant in 2001 so that fans will make the drive to Champaign in 2002 and will still be excited for the new stadium come 2003. And as we see on the screen, the Bears are tied with the Browns early on in overtime. But the Browns are a Cinderella story in its own right. The Browns are a new franchise, but not really. The old Cleveland Browns, who were owned by Art Modell, moved to Baltimore following the 1995 regular season. According to Modell, he had no choice but to move because Cleveland didn't have the funds to build a first-class stadium. When Modell said the move to Baltimore was official, a public referendum passed to fund the improvements to Municipal Stadium. It was too little too late, though, as Modell wanted the Cleveland Browns to become the Baltimore Ravens. Cleveland never won the Super Bowl, but in just its 5th season in Baltimore, the Ravens won the big game in dominating fashion. The Ravens had to begin operations in 1996 as an expansion franchise, but with 2 first-round picks that April, they drafted franchise staples in Jonathan Ogden and Ray Lewis. The new Browns, meanwhile, entered the NFL as a 1999 expansion franchise. In a crazier twist of fate, the first ever owner of the Browns would be Al Lerner, a close friend of Modell who had been with him when the Ravens began operations.
And to make matters even worse, the Browns could have drafted Kurt Warner during the 1999 expansion draft. They didn't, and Warner went on to win the 1999 MVP and Super Bowl MVP trophies with the greatest show on turf, St. Louis Rams. But the 2001 Browns are starting to turn things around. In its third year of existence, in the post-Modell era, and with the franchise keeping its records and colors of the former team, the new Browns are 4-2 and probably should have won their 5th game in regulation. The ball fell right into Mike Brown's lap one weekend ago, but not today thus far. In fact, Brown should have had a pick late in the third quarter, but the ball somehow fell out of his hands and right into the breadbasket of Kevin Johnson. Incredibly, the should-be interception became a long touchdown pass to make it 21-7 Browns. That touchdown pass became the last score for the next 14 minutes of game action. The Bears scored what looked to be a garbage touchdown with under a minute to go in the fourth quarter. Shane Matthews was everything you would expect from a backup quarterback. Matthews has thrown 50 passes thus far, only completed 30 of them, got strip-sacked, and threw 3 picks. His fumble inevitably was scooped up by Courtney Brown for the scoop and score on the first drive of the game. The Bears haven't led all game long, and if they win in overtime, their first lead will be the last lead of the game en route to a Bears win. And for the Bears to even have the opportunity for a pick-6 overtime win, it's something that a novelist would write. Remember that so-called garbage touchdown pass that Marty Booker caught? Well, that touchdown reception shouldn't have mattered. With less than 3 timeouts remaining and past the 2-minute warning, Chicago had to recover an onside kick just to preserve the game. And as if the football gods want Chicago to win because the Sears Tower was an initial terrorist destination, the Bears somehow recovered the onside kick to get a second chance. The Bears should probably be called the Cats due to the 9 lives they endured the past 2 weeks at Soldier Field. Just look at this onside kick again. Percy Ellsworth couldn't handle the wobbling ball because of the unnatural hop that it took off the grass. Jerry Azuma, who formerly won the Walter Payton Award as the best Division I AA player in the nation, knocked the ball back into play where backup linebacker Bobby Howard dove for the pigskin and grabbed it. Simply incredible, but the Bears were still a long way away from tying this game. With under 30 seconds left and only 1 timeout remaining, the Bears had to use the sideline as much as possible. 2 dump-off passes by Matthews kept the Bears 34 yards away from the end zone, and head coach Dick Duran had to call the team's final timeout after James Allen got wrapped up into the field of play. Knowing quite well that this would be the last play of regulation, Matthews took his time in the pocket. Then he stepped into his throw and delivered a Hail Mary heave. What do you do when it comes to a Hail Mary? Knock it straight down, of course. But rookie David Terrell might have knocked it towards his teammates or Ellsworth, and running back James Allen made an acrobatic catch right on top of Marty Booker for the potential game-changing TD catch. Paul Edinger knocked home the game-tying point after touchdown to tie the score. It's just incredible that the Bears are in this spot. Des White has overcome 2 bobbled passes to keep his feet in bounds, and the Bears only had a 3% chance of winning the game prior to the memorable onside kick recovery. What a change of events. But unfortunately for Browns fans, they've seen this type of choke job before. From the drive to the fumble, and from Red Right 88 to not drafting Kurt Warner, this fan base has seen it all in terms of disappointments. Just whenever the Browns seem to have things wrapped up, John Elway miraculously drives down the length of the field, 98 yards to be exact, for the game-tying score. Just when the Browns seem to be moving on to the next round of the playoffs, their fans saw Brian Sipe throw a pick in the end zone. And when Ernest Biner was a couple of yards away from tying the AFC Championship game, he fumbled inside the 5-yard line. It's deja vu all over again for the Dog Pound Nation. Or perhaps maybe not. Even though the Bears won the coin flip, the Browns defense did what they did most of the game and held the Chicago offense to a 3-and-out. It's now up to former number 1 overall pick Tim Couch to get it done for the Browns. Remember, the Browns selected Couch over Donovan McNabb in 1999. So far, McNabb looks like the better quarterback, but the Browns are 1 drive away from moving to 5-2 on the season. As such, it's starting to look apparent why Cleveland selected the former Kentucky Wildcat first overall. Granted, McNabb was put in a much better situation in Philadelphia than Couch in Cleveland. It takes a couple or even several years for an expansion franchise to compete, so the Browns might be ahead of schedule with a chance to go 5-2 headed into Week 9. Couch has looked like a first-round pick today, and his most recent completion, a 16-yarder to Kevin Johnson, was anything but mediocre. But the Browns' defense has still looked great today, as evidenced by Roosevelt Colvin's sack immediately following the Couch to Johnson connection. Can the offense and Couch recover from this recent adversity and lead the offense from a 2nd and 15 start? Or will the Bears, who haven't been in the playoffs in 7 years, win an OT for the 2nd consecutive week?
the Bears are somehow finding ways to win games with journeyman quarterbacks in Miller and Matthews. Incredibly, the Bears also could have had Warner as their signal caller. Michael McCaskey and Bears ownership called Warner's agent, but Warner had to keep canceling the mandatory tryout/workout due to his upcoming wedding and subsequent honeymoon. And during his honeymoon, Warner's elbow ballooned to the size of a grapefruit when he got bit by a spider or centipede, disallowing him from throwing the football for a couple of weeks. In fact, Warner doesn't know if it was a centipede or a spider. Call it questioning Warner's toughness or being extremely frustrated with Warner consistently postponing the workout, but the Bears didn't call Warner following his unfortunate honeymoon bug bite. The rest of the story's history. Warner won the MVP and Super Bowl MVP awards in 1999, and in 2000, the Rams' offense looked like the best one of all time before Warner had to miss significant time due to a broken middle finger on his throwing hand. Still, the Rams' offense almost made a valiant comeback during last season's wildcard round, and with Warner now 100% healthy in 2001, it's looking worse of a decision that McCaskey didn't give Warner a third chance to work out with the team. All bad decisions aside, the Bears can still win in overtime at Old Soldier Field. Soldier Field is running out of time for memories, but time is starting to stand still for Chicago. Just last week, the Bears came from oblivion to impossible victory. But there's no way, even when the team scored 14 points in less than a minute tonight, to win in overtime again, right? And there's no way that the Bears could win on a defensive touchdown. Well, when Mike Brown plays on your team, anything is possible. Welcome to a moment in history.
Couch out of the shotgun. Throws, that's batted into the air. Intercepted, and the Bears are going to win it. Mike Brown has done it again.
Thanks for watching this version of Rewinder. Make sure to comment below and subscribe to SBS. And if you're wondering, the Bears went on to win the division, the Browns went on a collapse and ended up missing the 2001 postseason.
Hey, this is Sarah Greenfalk, owner of PsychEdge. How would you like to learn how to manage your emotions and reactions in order to enhance your performance and be successful in life? I coach and counsel student athletes, performers, and professionals, giving them the mental skills and mindsets to build confidence and resilience. My background in physical therapy, massage therapy, personal training, and 15 years of counseling give my clients an advantage. So if you are wanting to be recruited, perform better, or struggling with life balance, anxiety, or depression symptoms, I will stand by you until we reach your goals. Contact me today, sarah@aimtogrow.com, and be sure to visit my website, psychedge.club, for your monthly blog on mental health, sport, and performance psychology tips. Hey, this is Sarah Greenfalk here of PsychEdge. Do you want to learn how to improve your performance, improve your confidence, improve your resilience? Coming this fall, PsychEdge is releasing 5 workshop classes that will give you the skills to accomplish your goals with increased confidence and resilience. This is your opportunity to learn all the main psychological pieces of mental training in one place, plus the process I've developed to build these skills. Go to my website, psychedge.club, and sign up for my monthly blog emails, which will include the updates on the class release.
Made from an athlete's mind for all sports minds. Level Up Branding is a unique sports marketing and branding agency, offering athlete management, brand management, and so much more. We are powered by experience, currently serving athletes in the WNBA, MLR, NFL, and college sports. We are looking to take on more clients because everyone deserves a shot at their dream. Our goal is to help others by inspiring one person at a time. Level Up Branding was founded by Lauren, who was and still is an athlete. She understands the importance of being a well-rounded and built individual. It takes an athlete to know an athlete. We are built different. There is so much more to an athlete than what is seen on the field or the court. We make it a priority to understand our athletes. We want to know and understand our clients' values, motives, passions, and future goals. At Level Up Branding, we believe in helping others succeed. We believe in giving back. We believe in family. You are more than an athlete. Level Up Branding was founded based on the sheer passion of sports, community involvement, and the sense of belonging to a community. We were created from an athlete's innovative mindset and experience, and here to offer our services to like-minded athletes.
It's October 23rd, 2005. The Chicago White Sox are hosting Game 2 of the World Series against the Houston Astros. Tied 6-6 in the bottom of the ninth inning. Leadoff hitter Scott Podsednik is at the plate, and while Podsednik went to the All-Star game earlier this season, Sox manager Ozzie Guillen is definitely not anticipating a walk-off home run finish to this particular ballgame. The Sox lead 1-0 in the series, but a potential 2-0 series edge, or the game potentially going into extra innings, is just a taste of the drama both teams have experienced lately. This is just the second World Series game in Astros franchise history, and for the White Sox, last night's Game 1 win was the ball club's first World Series victory since Game 5 of the 1959 Fall Classic. Houston, meanwhile, is still looking for its first ever World Series win. Therefore, a lot is riding on this 2-1 pitch, so let's rewind. Scott Podsednik, sometimes known simply as Scotty Pods by fans of the Southsiders, is starting to become a fan favorite. The White Sox had a formidable lineup of Carlos Lee, Bagley Ordonez, Paul Konerko, and Frank Thomas going into the 2005 offseason, but after finishing in second place to those pesky Minnesota Twins in 3 consecutive seasons, general manager Ken Williams pulled off one of the biggest blockbuster trades in Chi Sox history by dumping Lee's contract to the Milwaukee Brewers and acquiring the speedster in Podsednik. Just like that, Williams dumped a 30-homer, 100 RBI guy for the relatively unknown commodity in Podsednik. The theory was Podsednik would help bring a new dimension of speed and small ball mentality to the Sox. Williams wanted to change the direction of the franchise with a speedy and up-and-coming ball player who could frustrate opposing pitching staffs on the base pass, similar to what the Twins were doing with Lou Ford, Torrey Hunter, Luis Rivas, and Christian Guzman. And Williams' bold trade turned out to be a great one. The first half of the season saw Podsednik steal 4 bases in a game on 2 different occasions, with Scotty Pods making the All-Star team as the final vote candidate. His batting average hovered around 300, and he stole 59 bases for the Sox. The trade was still good for Milwaukee, as Lee finished with a career-high 32 home runs and 114 RBI. But the Brewers missed the playoffs in 2005, while the Palehosers won just their 4th division title since playoff reformatting went into effect during the late 60s. Williams actually changed the entire White Sox lineup. Frank Thomas was out most of the 2005 regular season and postseason due to a bone fracture. Ordonez signed with the Tigers during the 05 offseason. Jermaine Dye became the everyday right fielder, and Williams brought in 30-year-old Japanese rookie Tadahito Iguchi become the everyday second baseman and 2-hole hitter. Iguchi became a key cog in the Sox lineup, with his 3-run homer in Game 2 of the ALDS against the Boston Red Sox being the climax of a very impressive 3-game sweep at the hands of the defending champions. Everything was different about this White Sox team. The mantra became win or die trying, as White Sox small ball, or Aussie ball, as was sometimes referred to in the Chicago Sun-Times and Chicago Tribune, became the team's identity. Instead of Lee cranking dingers to left field, Podsednik would steal bases, Iguchi would get him over, and Jermaine Dye or Paul Konerko would drive him in with the crucial RBI hit. However, the average baseball fan wanted to call it. The Sox overcame the odds and stopped the Twins from winning a 4th straight AL Central crown. But the White Sox actually had to go toe-for-toe, tick-for-tack with the Cleveland Guardians to see who would represent the AL Central in the playoffs. It was a crazy year for the Sox. By August 1st, the Palehosers were up 15 games on the Cleveland Guardians. Incredibly, that lead became a meager 1.5 games as the Guardians went 19-8 during the month of August. A turning point for the White Sox came on September 20th against Cleveland. Joe Creedy's walk-off home run in the bottom of the 10th increased the White Sox division lead to 3.5 games. It was a 2-win swing, and it gave the White Sox enough breathing room for them to hold for the division crown. Even more interesting, Cleveland missed out on the postseason entirely after its amazing run. The Guardians/Indians lost 6 of their last 7 games, allowing the Red Sox to sneak in as the wild card representative. It was a tough pill to swallow for Indians fans, as this team went from a 48-47 record to almost upending the Sox for the division pennant. Instead, the Indians missed out on the playoffs for yet another year, their 4th straight season without a playoff appearance. The White Sox cruised past the aforementioned Red Sox, but the ALCS was a slightly different story. The Los Angeles Angels of Anaheim won Game 1 in Chicago, with Podsednik and catcher A.J. Pierzynski getting caught on stolen base attempts. Game 2 was a game to remember, as it was just a 1-1 tie with 2 outs in the bottom of the 9th. With 2 strikes on him, Pierzynski swung at a splitter out of the strike zone. The White Sox starting catcher thought the ball hit the dirt, and without instant replay in effect, home plate umpire Doug Eddings awarded first base to Pierzynski via the drop third strike. It honestly looked like a bad call by Eddings on replay, as Angel catcher Josh Paul clearly seemed to have caught the ball. It was new life for the Sox, and they wouldn't relinquish the opportunity. Pablo Ozuna pinch ran for Brzezinski. Greedy had a walk-off double, and the Sox dominated the Angels in Anaheim by each of their three starting pitchers, John Garland, Freddie Garcia, and Jose Contreras, all throwing complete games. The White Sox won all three games in Anaheim to enter the Fall Classic in more than 4 decades. It all started with a controversial drop third strike allowance by Eddings. If not for the drop third strike, the Angels could have won in extra innings and been up 2-0. Oh, the days of no instant replay. Some nicknamed the White Sox the curse of the Black Sox, as the Sox have only played in one World Series since the infamous Black Sox gambling scandal. That is, until 2005 began. And to put salt on an open wound, Chicago's defeats in the 1983 and 1993 ALCS were to the eventual World Series winners, the Baltimore Orioles and Toronto Blue Jays. But times might be changing as the White Sox eliminated their curse of the Bambino by winning the Fall Classic just last season. The White Sox are now up 1-0 with a golden chance to win its first World Series since 1917. In fact, the Sox have not won more than 2 World Series games since 1919. But the Astros are also a Cinderella story. Since joining Major League Baseball as the Houston Colt 45s, the Astros entered the 2005 season without a single World Series appearance. Prior to 2005, the Astros were basically major choke artists come October. In 1980, the Philadelphia Phillies won the Fall Classic, but it could have easily been Houston. Back then, the NLCS was only best of 5, and Houston led 5-2 of Game 5, entering the top of the 5th at the old Astrodome. Phillies scored 5 runs at the top of the 7th. The Astros would tie the score at 7 with a late 2-out rally, but Gary Maddox's go-ahead RBI double in the top of the 10th became the game winner, as Houston couldn't mount another comeback after going down 1-2-3 in the bottom half of the inning. It was heartbreaking for the Stros, as they had Nolan Ryan on the mound in this do-or-die Game 5, but Ryan gave up 6 earned runs through his 7 innings of work. Philadelphia went on to win the 1980 World Series, a team which Houston had on the ropes during the National League Championship Series. Because of the 1981 player strike, there was a division series in the postseason. Houston won the second half of the year, so they got to face off against Los Angeles. The Astros won the first 2 games of the NLDS, but the 2-3 format allowed LA to host all 3 elimination games, and the Dodgers won a perfect 3-for-3 at Dodger Stadium. The Astros went ice cold to plate, as the Stros scored a mere 2 runs during all 3 games. And if you can believe it, the Dodgers went on to win the 1981 World Series. The 1986 NLCS was just as bad, if not more gut-wrenching for the Astros faithful. Mike Scott, the ace of the Astros pitching staff, was the NLCS MVP despite his team's losing effort. Dave Smith was anything but automatic as the Astros closer. Up by a run during Game 3 at Shea Stadium, he gave up a 2-run digger to Lenny Dykstra, propelling the Mets to a thrilling 6-5 walk-off victory. The Astros trailed 3-2 as the series headed back to the largest city in Texas. Theoretically speaking, Scott was so dominant in the series that Houston just had to win Game 6 to allow Scott to pitch in a winner-go-home Game 7. Bob Knepper was Houston's starter in Game 6, and he pitched 8 scoreless innings. But he showed signs of fatigue during the top of the 9th, and after he gave up 2 runs in the last inning of regulation, manager Hal Lanier decided to give Smith another shot at closer. Smith just flat-out stunk most of the series. He walked the first 2 batters he saw, paving the way for Ray Knight to drive in the game-tying run on a subsequent sacrifice fly. It was a crushing collapse, as the Astros were 2 outs away from forcing Game 7 with Scott on the mound. The same Mike Scott who had an ERA of .5 and walked just 1 batter during his combined starts in Games 1 and 4. The Astros fought hard the rest of the game. After the Mets scored a run on the top of the 14th, Billy Hatcher kept his team's season alive with a game-tying homer off the left field foul pole. But it wasn't meant to be for Houston, as the Astros gave up 3 runs in the top of the 16th. The Astros scored twice in the bottom half of the inning, but bullpen arm Jesse Orasco eliminated the extra inning rally by striking out Kevin Boss with a runner on second. After all that hard work, the Astros season ended in an MLB playoff high 16 innings. For the 3rd straight time, the team who defeated the Astros in the playoffs went on to win the World Series, as the Mets defeated the Red Sox during the '86 Fall Classic. From 1987 until 2003, the Astros never got any closer to a World Series appearance, and the Astros almost relocated to Virginia, as former owner Drayton McClain seriously considered selling the team to William Collins. The Astros played in Houston after Collins couldn't get a stadium in place, and Houston voters responded positively to a stadium referendum to avoid losing the Astros, just like they lost the Oilers. The Astros saw a resurgence in the late 90s and early 2000s, but the Atlanta Braves became Houston's kryptonite, as the Braves defeated the Astros 3 times during the National League Division Series, 1997, 1999, and 2001. 3 straight division titles from 97 to 99 didn't matter, as the Astros couldn't even win 2 games during the NLDS. They avoided the sweep until 2001, but they couldn't even advance to the NLCS in 1998 with Hall of Fame pitcher Randy Johnson on the roster. The 2004 Astros were a different story. Last season's ball club eradicated a 44-44 start to the year by going 46-26 down the stretch to win the NL wildcard. The Stros had to play against the Braves, but unlike the Larry Dierker-led squads, the Phil Garner-led Astros won the do-or-die Game 5 to advance to their first NLCS since 1986. While the Astros fought hard, losing the NL Central Division to the St. Louis Cardinals did in Houston as the Cardinals won Game 7 at Busch Stadium. Even more soul-crushing, Houston led 3-2 in the series, but they lost both games in St. Louis, including a demoralizing 6-4 loss in 12 innings during Game 6. The Astros entered the 2005 season with high hopes, and even though Carlos Beltran signed as a free agent with the Mets, Houston still had the killer bees of Craig Biggio, Lance Berkman, and Jeff Bagwell in the heart of its batting order. A 15-30 start to the year worried Astros fans, but after a 22-7 record in July, the Stros were back on track to clinching another wild card berth. The Astros barely hung on to win the wild card, as they had to win on the last day of the season to hold off Charlie Manuel's Phillies. As if the baseball gods love it being Astros versus Braves, the Astros had to once again play the Braves through the 2005 NLDS. And like last season, the Astros began a new tradition of eliminating the Braves in the division series. This time around, it was a 4-game elimination, as Chris Burke had a walk-off solo shot at the bottom of the 18th to send the Astros back to the NLCS against St. Louis. It was the longest game in MLB postseason history. Looking for revenge against the Redbirds, the Astros won games 2 through 4 and almost won the pennant at Minute Maid Park, but Albert Pujols cranked a 3-run bomb from the arm of Brad Lidge, and the Astros had to win their first National League pennant on the road. Some analysts consider that home run to still be on the mind of Lidge going into the World Series.
It would have been nice to get Lidge in the game in Game 6 in St. Louis in the NLCS to get that taste out of his mouth, the Pujols home run. I don't think that taste is there.
Then again, Lidge was basically unhittable during most of the playoffs. There's no way Podsednik, who didn't hit a homer during the regular season, could hit a dinger against the All-Star closer, right? And of all the people to give up a home run to Podsednik, Lidge would definitely be at the bottom of the list, according to Gambler's Odds. And for Lidge to even be in the spot is unbelievable. Remember, the Astros were down to their last out in the top of the 9th, but Jose Vizcaino put his name in baseball history by drilling a 2-out, 2-run single to left field to tie the score at 6. Perhaps Bobby Jenks was dead tired after having to get a 4-out save last night. Jenks inevitably blew the saves, but the Sox obtained its fair share of breaks earlier in the game to even be in that spot. The first such break occurred at the bottom of the 2nd inning. This ball should have been caught by Hall of Fame second baseman Biggio, but he somehow dropped the fly ball, allowing Brzezinski to score the go-ahead run. With 2 runners on base in the bottom of the 7th, home plate umpire Jeff Nelson determined that Dan Wheeler's fastball hit the batting glove of Jermaine Dye. Once again, instant replay verified that Nelson made the wrong call, as it sure seemed like the baseball hit the knob of the bat instead of hitting Dye. Garner was practically forced to go to the bullpen, and with the bases now loaded, he called upon Chad Qualls to try and jam the next hitter. Dye's hit by a pitch brought Konerko to the plate, and he capitalized on the first pitch with a 4-run 4-bagger to give Chicago its first lead since the 2nd inning. The breaks are seemingly going Chicago's way, but the Astros have fought hard to be in the position they're in right now. While he performed poorly during the last round, Lidge had a perfect 0 ERA during the 2004 NLCS and 2005 NLDS. He pitched 12 perfect innings during those rounds combined. During the 2004 regular season, he even received votes for the Cy Young Award. He's been very good in 2005, but his wins above replacement mark dropped significantly from 3.8 to now barely above 2. And to reiterate,
And here's a drive deep right field. This is going to go. That's the first home run he has hit this season.
Podsednik's lone homer of the season came during Game 1 of the 2005 ALDS against the Red Sox, a home run that didn't even factor into the game's final result. It was all intents purposes a meaningless homer. But Scotty Pods crushed a career-high 12 dingers last season for the Brew Crew, so the power is somewhat there for Podsednik. Will Lidge's mind be on straight, or will he be second-guessing himself after what happened to him in Houston against Pujols? Meaning, could Lidge accidentally leave a juicy fastball right in Podsednik's wheelhouse? Can Podsednik do what Konerko did 2 innings ago? Or will he try to do what he normally does and get a hit within the constraints of the ballpark? Podsednik is ahead in the count 2-1 with 2005 All-Star closer Lidge on the mound. Welcome to a moment in history.
The 2-1. A swing and a high fly ball.
deep right center field. This is way back in the gap, and it's a gunner! A White Sox winner! A winner on a Pacific home run, and the White Sox go up 2-0 in the 2005 World Series.
The White Sox went on to win games 3 and 4 to record its first ever World Series sweep and its first World Series title since 2007. Houston would not win a World Series game and subsequent title until 2017. Thanks for watching this Rewinder video. Make sure to subscribe below to never miss the action of Sports Broadcast Solutions.
In 2003, the 9-6 Minnesota Vikings are playing on the road. A win in this game clinches a playoff spot for the Vikes. And with the Cardinals entering the contest with a record of 3-12, it looks like Minnesota is headed back to the postseason. The ball is placed at the 28-yard line, but with the Cardinals down by 5 and under 10 seconds remaining, a field goal does them no good here. As such, it's up to quarterback Josh McCown to heave up a Hail Mary for the incredible comeback win. But a lot is happening here. In fact, there was a lot of drama coming into this moment. The mere fact that the Cardinals still have a chance to win the game is practically unbelievable. Before we find out what happens next, we need to understand where both teams currently stand. Nothing is ever simple in football, especially when it comes to a Hail Mary attempt. Win or lose, it's coming down to the last play for both teams, and for that, we need to rewind. The Vikings have a decent record at 9-6, but for Vikings fans who remember the 2003 season, they should have a lot more wins. Minnesota was once undefeated this season. Impressively, the Vikings won their first 6 games. But things started to unravel quickly for the Vikes. After a red-hot start to the year, Minnesota dumped its next 4 in the toilet. Even more embarrassingly, only one of those 4 straight defeats was by less than 10 points. While it didn't seem to be a big deal at the time, loss number 2 of the 4-game losing streak was a critical 3-point defeat at the hands of the Green Bay Packers. This was huge because the Vikings outlasted the Packers 30-25 during Week 1. If the Vikings had won during Week 9 against the Packers, they would have owned the head-to-head tiebreaker for the NFC North Division. This means that the Vikings wouldn't need to win on the road in Week 17. But the Vikings couldn't take care of business, and the losing continued into Week 12. From 6-0 to now 6-4, now the Vikings are 9-6. And if they could have just outlasted the Bears a couple of weeks ago, they'd be in the playoffs. Instead, Charles Peanut Tillman made the signature play of his underrated career as he overpowered Randy Moss in the end zone. And now, the Vikings need a win today to clinch their postseason tickets. Both the Packers and the Vikings were 9-6 coming into Week 17, so the Vikings need a win or a Packers loss to win the division. The old saying, every game matters in football, definitely stood the test of time for the Vikings in 2003. Still, going from 6-0 to 9-6 is technically a collapse. And this was supposed to be a new era of Vikings football, and with Mike Tice as the head coach. Gone were the days of Dennis Green's Vikings blowing playoff leads or getting dominated in the tournament. Green's Vikings went 15-1 during the 1998 regular season, but they couldn't finish the deal as the Dirty Birds Atlanta Falcons upset them at the Metrodome during the NFC Championship game. Didn't Green know the Dirty Birds, who he thought they were, but he still left them off the hook?
But they are who we thought they were, and we let them off the hook.
A primarily running team led by Jamal Anderson, the Falcons took advantage of a late missed field goal by Gary Anderson and then won in overtime. A crushing blow for the Vikings in 1998, but they were still good enough to get another bite at the Lombardi Trophy apple in 1999. The Vikings' offense was still as dominant as ever in 1999. While the greatest show on turf, St. Louis Rams, were the only team in the NFL with over 6,400 total yards, the Vikings still finished in top 5 in total yards at just under 5,800. However, turnovers were problematic for Minnesota in 1999. They turned the ball almost 19% of the time when they drove down the field. With Randall Cunningham struggling at QB the year before, Y2K, Green made a quarterback change and gave the keys of the offense to journeyman Jeff George. George was a former number 1 overall draft pick, and he looked the part of a franchise quarterback in 1999. His Vikings went 8-2 with him as the starting quarterback, with the Vikings earning a spot in the wild card round. They easily took care of the aging Dallas Cowboys 27-10 as the Vikings advanced to the divisional round against Kurt Warner's Rams. George was excellent on this day, but incredibly his 4 touchdown passes weren't nearly enough to outlast the Rams. A terrible day for the Vikings on defense as the Vikes gave up 49 points and 5 touchdown passes to the future Hall of Famer in Warner. If the Vikings' defense had just been moderately respectable, they probably would have advanced to the NFC title game. Jeff George finished with 423 yards passing and 29 completions, but he also had 21 incompletions. The Vikings originally trailed 49-17, so to be fair, some of George's completions came during garbage time. In 2000, the Vikings truly believed the third time would be the charm. Choosing not to retain George or Cunningham, President Gary Woods saw enough in Dante Culpepper to allow him to be the full-time starter in 2000. Even though he didn't play a single snap the previous year, the 2000 season would be Culpepper's first year as the starter and his rookie season altogether. It turned out to be a great decision as Culpepper's Vikings won 11 games in the NFC Central Division. However, the Vikings lost their last 3 regular season games, allowing the New York Giants to clinch home field advantage for the playoffs. Whether playing in the Meadowlands was the key difference maker for the Vikings is debatable, but whatever the reason, the Vikings offense looked lost and bewildered during the NFC Championship game. A 41-0 shellacking in East Rutherford, New Jersey saw Jim Fossil's Giants play on Super Bowl Sunday and the Vikings crumble in yet another embarrassing playoff defeat. This is by far the worst of the 3 consecutive playoff losses during the Dennis Green tenure, and it begged the question, if not now, when would the Vikings finally get over the hump and back to the Super Bowl? A losing record in 2001 saw the Vikings gamble and terminate the consistent winner in Green. In came his assistant in Mike Tice, and the 2003 Men in Purple were once again contenders during Tice's second year in Minneapolis. But as was
Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another production of Sports Broadcast Solutions, a broadcasting network for everyone. It's the IHSA quarterfinals between Notre Dame College Prep against St. Ignatius College Prep. I'm Kyle Smith alongside Mark Forden. And Mark, these teams know each other very well because, of course, they play in the Chicago Catholic League.
Definitely, Kyle. Two Catholic League teams here. 6A quarterfinal. It's a windy one at Fornelli Field. A little bit chilly out here, but should be a great game between two Catholic teams here.
How do you stop the triple option? That's going to be the key for Notre Dame College Prep today.
It definitely should be tough for Notre Dame College Prep to stop the triple option, but you know, if they stick that linebacker on the quarterback and then make sure the safeties are pressing down, they should be able to have a good chance of stopping the triple option for Notre Dame.
For St. Ignatius, obviously Notre Dame's going to run a lot of spread. The only time they've had trouble is with quarterbacks that get the ball out quick, like St. Patrick and Mount Carmel. Does Notre Dame know that, or are they just going to stick to their type of offense, whether the quarterback get the ball out quickly or not?
Yeah, if I'm Notre Dame, I'm definitely trying to get the ball out as quick as possible. Quick passes, maybe a couple screens, mix it up in there. A couple tight end pop passes, and try and move the ball quickly down the field with some quick passes.
You're a former player, obviously, in Lincoln Way. This Notre Dame team's had to play on the road back-to-back weeks, all the way north to Wakanda, and now city traffic, not so bad on a Saturday. Does that get into your mindset a little bit, having to play on the road so much, especially in do-or-die playoff games?
I definitely could think it come into effect, especially here at St. Ignatius. There's a pretty good atmosphere out here, but having to do it already in the playoffs, they should be used to the adversity. They've had a pretty tough Catholic League schedule, had some tough road games, so they should be used to it by now.
Winner of this game, partner, plays Prairie Ridge, which is up in Crystal Lake, or Harlem. And look, first things first for St. Ignatius, they got to win this game. But if they win, and Harlem wins, the state semifinals would be back here in Chicago. This is a team, before last season, they had never won a playoff game. They're one win away from going to the semifinals and possibly hosting a semifinal game.
Yeah, definitely. St. Ignatius showed last year that they were a program in the Catholic League to be reckoned with, and they definitely didn't stop that this year. They've had a great season so far. They're really showing that they're turning a page as a program, and should be a great game today.
Final thoughts, too. Notre Dame is known for the brothers in Vincenzo and Francisco Riccardi. What's it like playing with your brother at the football level, even at the high school level? Is there that instant chemistry that you don't get with the rest of your teammates?
Yeah, they definitely should have a special bond out there on the field. They've been playing with each other their whole lives, so they should be out there ready to go, ready for this 6A quarterfinal game here at Fornelli Field.
We're taking a 30-second break. National Anthem coming up next here on Sports Broadcast Solutions, a broadcasting network for everyone.
Missing your child's sporting event just plain stinks. But you don't have to worry about that anymore, thanks to Sports Broadcast Solutions. SBS is a live broadcasting network, as well as covering your on-demand needs, recruiting videos, highlight reels, and much, much more. We can broadcast live to any website, and we also post as much on-demand content as you need. For more information about SBS, check out our website at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Sports Broadcast Solutions, a broadcasting network for everyone.
National Anthem coming up next as it's Notre Dame against St. Ignatius here on Sports Broadcast Solutions. I'm going with St. Ignatius 35, Notre Dame 21. What's your prediction?
That's a pretty good prediction. I'm going with St. Ignatius 28, Niles Notre Dame 24.
All right. My partner thinks it's going to be a close one. National Anthem coming up next here on SBS, a broadcasting network for everyone.
Fans, at this time, we ask that you all stand. Men will remove their hats and face the flag. Today we have 2 members of St. Ignatius' faculty and members of the Dominican Sisters. Our own Sister Maria Canisius and Sister Mary Esther here to sing the national anthem.
Oh, say, can you see by the dawn's early light what so proudly we hailed at the twilight's last gleaming, whose broad stripes and bright stars through the perilous fight for the ramparts we watched were so gallantly streaming, and the rockets red there, bubbles bursting in air, came through the night, but our flag was still there. Oh, say does that star-spangled banner yet wave o'er the land of the free and the brave?
Sister Maria Canisius, Sister Mary Esther, thank you. A reminder to all fans, any disparaging actions, gestures, or verbal indignities are disruptive, discouraged, and will get you immediately dismissed from our campus. We thank you in advance for your cooperation.
All right, partner, it's do or die. St. Ignatius against Notre Dame. Winner goes to the quarterfinals. Loser, go home.
Judge Derek DeLisandro and umpire Jack Jones.
Everybody's here except for the fans. Looks like the fans had something better to do today than go to a St. Ignatius game.
Yeah, it's a windy one here at St. Ignatius today. Should be a little chilly, but I don't think it'll affect these players. They're hyped up with adrenaline. They're ready to get after it for a 6-8 quarterfinal game here in west side of Chicago.
And really, St. Ignatius never passes the ball. So this is perfect weather for them.
Yep.
For a pass-heavy team like Notre Dame, not so much.
Yeah, the ball definitely is going to be stiff out there. So St. Ignatius, they're going to be running hard. Now it's Notre Dame. Those receivers are going to have to hold on to that ball.
So you played on the defensive side of the ball in your high school career down in Lincoln Way East. What was it like in a cold weather game trying to tackle players?
Yeah, it definitely gets a lot tougher in the cold weather. The turf gets a lot harder. It's a lot harder when you're falling on the ground and making plays out there. But like I said earlier, you're hyped up with adrenaline. You're ready to go. This is the IHSA playoffs, and everyone should be out there ready to go.
So Notre Dame won the toss. They elected to receive. They're led by their quarterback, Vincenzo Ricciardi. He's a very short guy, just 5'9", 150 pounds from Wildwood. But they've been dominant in these playoffs, partner. They beat Antioch 28-7, and then last week they won 17-8 because I think the Wakanda coach forgot to count. Went for 2 even though they were down by 2. And I apologize, it's going to be St. Ignatius ball. It looked like that St. Ignatius was going to kick, but late kickoff team comes in for Notre Dame. And it's a little pop kick by 43, and they call for the fair catch. Does St. Ignatius? And we start play. Decent kick by Robert Kuban.
Yeah, a little pooch kick there for now's Notre Dame, but should set up St. Ignatius with pretty decent field position to start off this game.
Maybe you're thinking maybe St. Ignatius is a little too pumped up, not ready for a pop kick. Not the case. Great job calling for that fair catch to get good field position for the Wolfpack.
Oh yeah, that's exactly what you want to do right there by the kickoff team. Just call a fair catch, start your offense out at right around the 40-yard line for the Wolfpack here.
So no time goes off the clock. Ball at the 37. The triple option, of course, for the Wolfpack. Hard to stop. They run Connor in motion, and they run it up the gut. Notre Dame allows a short gain on the play.
Randy Russ.
That's Randy Russ credit for the tackle.
Gain of 2.
2nd and 8 coming up for the Wolfpack with 11:43 remaining. 2nd and 8, ball at the 39.
And 8. At the Wolfpack 39.
St. Ignatius taking their time. It was a quarterback keeper for Petro. Looks like they're going to run it again. Handoff. Short gain for Rugai.
Rugai on the carry.
As 3rd and manageable coming up for the Wolfpack.
3.
He gets 3 total yards on the play.
But
3rd and 5.
3. Anthony Fornelli. Yes, the same Fornelli.
And actually they gave him an extra yard. So 2nd and 4, ball at the 43. If the Wolfpack get any positive yards here, you assume they're going to go for it. Petro under center, of course. No wide receivers wide of the field. Handoff. Close to the first down marker. We'll see where they spot it.
A gain of 3.
Rugai on the handoff. Niles says that they got him short. 1st and 10 awarded for the Wolfpack. But partner, that was a good defensive hold by Notre Dame. It forced St. Ignatius to run 3 plays. No big plays given up by that Notre Dame defense.
Yeah, that was a pretty good job by the linebackers crashing down there. Defensive line's doing their job with St. Ignatius. That triple option is going to be tough. They're just going to be grinding away yards all day.
They place the ball at the 47. Now they put Stewart out wide at wide receiver. Handoff up the middle. Still going, trucking through. Rugai's loose. He's past the 40 of Notre Dame, and partner, it's so hard to slow this St. Ignatius attack. Here they go again, led by their senior tailback, Vinny Rugai.
Yeah, that's a great run by Vinny Rugai. Just getting to the 2nd level, keep those legs churning. 1st down, Wolfpack.
So they stop the clock briefly at 10:13, and then it'll restart. Ball's placed just shy of the 40, inside the 40 in fact. Now Clement Carey wide at wide receiver. They're going to switch the look. Stewart back to wide receiver from the tight end spot. Bloss in motion. Handoff to Rugai. It's a short gain, as that's a good stop by the Notre Dame defense. In there was James Keenan.
By number 33, Fornelli.
Fornelli again with a tackle. That's his 2nd of the game. Ball at the 37, 2nd and 8.
And that's going to be the Wolfpack game plan all day here, Kyle. They're just going to try and keep running the ball right up the middle, win the ball game in the trenches, and keep getting those gritty yards.
2nd and 8, ball at the 37. Rugai in the backfield. 1 wide receiver look. Rugai again. He's still on his feet, close to the chains, and he got it.
Good for 9 yards and a Wolfpack 1st down.
Well, partner, if you're going to give up a touchdown, at least make the Wolfpack earn it, right? Try to get them to have 10 or more plays. The more plays, of course, you're more susceptible to fumbling the football. They're trying to make the Wolfpack earn it.
28-yard line.
But so far, so good for the Wolfpack. They're getting it down the field. Ball at the 28, 1st and 10. Little confusion on the offensive side of the ball as Carey eventually gets to wide receiver. Carey trying to get set, and he didn't. It was a pitch play to Connor, but Carey was not set.
Timeout, Wolfpack. They're first.
Coach Miller calls the timeout, partner. I'm a little bit surprised by that. You'd think he'd want to save his timeouts late in the half.
Yeah, you know, the offense didn't really look too set right there. Call a timeout. You're running a good drive. You're right around the 28-yard line.
We'll take a 12-second break. You're watching the Wolfpack against the Dons here on SBS.
This is Sports Broadcast Solutions, a broadcasting network for everyone. Check us out at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com and become part of the digital sporting world.
It's the Dons against the Wolfpack here on SBS. We appreciate you watching today's broadcast. We're pre-recording it as well, in case you weren't able to watch it live. Wolfpack going right down the field, partner, but a little bit of confusion on that last play leads to an illegal motion. Now 1st and 15 coming up for the Wolfpack.
Yeah, take a timeout right there. Get your offense set. Coach talked to him in the huddle.
28. And it looks like Miller did, in fact, call the timeout before the illegal motion was called. Little pitch play to Connor. Notre Dame reads it well, but still positive yards for the Wolfpack. Partner, the linebackers were out. They read it all the way, and the Wolfpack still got the first down.
Yeah, it's just a great run right there by Connor. That's a great job blocking by the St. Ignatius outside wide receiver and also the offensive line right there. Just keep those legs churning, get to the second level.
I just don't know how you can slow down the Wolfpack. They're on a mission too, partner. This is a team that lost early in the playoffs last year, 15-3 to Crete-Moni. They're on a mission, and it shows in this postseason. Good luck to anybody they play. Wolfpack going right down the field again. Rugai up the middle, gets a couple of yards. He's still on his feet, by the way, and then finally brought down.
Gain of 1.
All right, partner, your head coach, Matt Miller, for the Wolfpack. Would you settle for 3, or do you want to go for it now that you're inside the 20?
With the way that this drive has gone, in the way that St. Ignatius has been running the ball on this first drive, I definitely think you're not settling for anything less than 6 here if you're the Wolfpack.
2nd and 8, ball at the 12, 7:43 to go.
2nd and 8 at the Don 12-yard line.
1 in the backfield. They run a jumbo set. Still having trouble getting set on the line of scrimmage as the Wolfpack. They run Connor in motion. Connor on the jet sweep. Connor with some space. Still on his feet inside the 10 and about a yard or 2 short of the first down marker. Partner, if you're the Dons, do you have to consider blitzing almost any play because the 4-man rush isn't working right now for Notre Dame?
Yeah, I definitely think you want to send the house on every play. You know they're not going to pass the ball.
3rd down and 3.
But at the same time, that could be a problem because if they do decide to run something like a little tight end pop pass, you don't want to get caught slipping.
3rd and 3. This is the Wolfpack's bread and butter. 3rd and manageable. Fakes the handoff. Room to run. Rugai lowers his shoulder and scores. Oh no! They're saying that Petro dropped the ball. Touchback, Notre Dame.
And just a very unfortunate series of events right there for the Wolfpack. It looked like they had the touchdown. Thought Rugai broke the plane there. The officials saw it differently. It'll be a first down touchback now as Notre Dame.
I don't know, partner. Remember, as long as you're under control crossing the pylon, that's it. Right after you cross, it's a dead ball. So you had a better look than I had. In or out? Was it a touchdown or a touchback?
Personally, I thought he broke the plane. I thought touchdown St. Ignatius. The referee right there on the pylon saw it another way. So the ball will go to the Fighting Dons.
Wow, what a break for Notre Dame. But the St. Ignatius defense is very good as well. Well, Petro's going to have to learn the hard way. You got to be under control when running through the line of scrimmage. Short gain for the Dons. They run it to Ricciardi. Nope, sorry, that was Anthony Thome.
A gain of 2.
Probably pronounced Tome. Anthony Tome from St. Eugene. He's a 5'11", 170-pound junior. Well, St. Ignatius has to shrug that one off and continue on defense here. 2nd and 8 at the 22. Under 7 to go in the first quarter. Shotgun formation, and now Kemp goes into a zone look on defense. Good snap. Room to run, and then there isn't. Scott was initially there, as well as a slew of St. Ignatius defenders. Fumble! St. Ignatius says they have it, but the play was blown dead. And I like that call, partner. It sure looked like the legs were stopped moving. It looked like forward progress was done.
Yeah, I definitely think he was down right there. But regardless, this Wolfpack defense is swarming to the ball, and they look ready to play here on this Saturday.
You know, partner, even though it's 3rd and 5, I wouldn't mind a screen here. Try to get your best player out in space and get 5 yards.
I definitely think that could be a good game plan for the Fighting Dons offense right here.
3rd and 5, not a great snap. The lefty with a pass, 1st and 10 for the Dons. Kevin Durkin on the reception.
Pass complete to number 3, Kevin Durkin. Good for 7.
Excellent job by Ricciardi standing in the pocket to make that throw, partner, because that was not a good snap. It was a very slow-moving ball.
Yeah, definitely a great job staying in the pocket right there. Nice little curl route right past the chains. First down now is Notre Dame.
The Dons with the ball. They're going to split the wide receivers, 2 to the right, 2 to the left. 1 in the backfield for Notre Dame. 1st and 10, ball at the 33. Little screen pass and dropped.
Pass intended for number 8.
And a flag on the field. St. Ignatius might be called for a late hit.
A flag on the field.
A little extra curriculars there from the Wolfpack. Should be a gain of 15 for Notre Dame.
They're going to talk it over. It's a huge call. Yep, personal foul, 15 yards.
Personal foul against the Wolfpack.
Partner, the Wolfpack just have to calm down. Like they had 6, it was taken away from them. It's over. Just calm down, play your game. They're doing a good job on defense. Just play within your element, and they're going to get the ball back.
First downs at their own 48-yard line.
Riccardi got the first down on that pitch and catch over to Durkin. Now he's got Williamson out wide to the left. 2 in the backfield. And another bad snap. Right up the middle with it, and a good gain that time for Tomei.
25, Anthony Tome on the carry, brought down by 27, Nick Belts.
Belts credited with the tackle. It's going to be 2nd and 5 for the Dons.
A gain of 5, 2nd and 5 at the Wolfpack 47.
No wind today, partner, so the kicking game should not be affected. The only thing you're affected by is the cold weather. So if the Dons want to settle for 3, they get inside the 20, they'll probably kick. Okay, snap that time. Screen pass out to the right, close to the first down marker, and he got it.
Number 4, Howard Williamson.
Williamson on the screen. 1st and 10 for the Dons.
A gain of 6, good for a Don first down.
Nice little screen there right up the sidelines for Notre Dame.
1st and 10 for the Dons.
Good play call. Looked like the same play that Notre Dame got the personal foul on. Works right there for the Dons.
Another 2 in the backfield, 3 wide receiver look. Another screen. Williamson still on his feet. Partner, I wish they would change that rule, but it is the rule in IHSA. Once your knee is down, you're officially down.
A loss of a yard.
And it costs the Dons 3 yards there. It's now 2nd and 11 for Notre Dame.
At the Wolfpack 41.
Well, they've tried the screens, partner. Now they're trying to get those defensive backs to cheat up. Do you consider taking a shot with a fly route here?
2nd and 11. I like something over the middle, maybe a post.
Quarterback keeper out to the right. The Wolfpack read it well, and it's just a short gain.
Ricciardi on the keeper. No gain. A gain of a yard.
They give him a yard. 3rd and 10 coming up. All right, partner. It's an obvious passing situation, but for Notre Dame, you don't want to throw a pick either.
Wolfpack 39.
You could actually do a Hail Mary here. The worst thing is an interception in the end zone, then it's like as good as a punt.
Definitely could do a Hail Mary here.
See if they do a fly route on 3rd and 10. It's a clean pocket, steps into his throw, deflected away by Rugai.
That's broken up by 23, Vinny Rugai. Brings up 4th down.
Outstanding deflection there by Rugai. It's exactly how you want to play that pass right there to the tight end over the middle.
3rd and 3:44 remaining. 4th and 9, obvious punting situation for the Dons. They've had trouble with the snap, partner. It's been really slow getting to the quarterback.
Janus on the punt for the Wolfpack.
That time it's a good snap. Decent kick. And Deach yells out poison. 1st and 10 coming up for the Wolfpack.
That'll be a touchback.
Huge stop for the Wolfpack on defense. It looked like Notre Dame was starting to get some momentum, and then a huge deflection by Rugai. Partner, Notre Dame really didn't do anything on the defensive end their last drive. Do they have enough in the tank to get a stop, or is the Wolfpack going to go right down the field once again?
I definitely think that fumble in the end zone could create some momentum for now's Notre Dame. This defense just has to stick that linebacker on the quarterback, make sure the safeties are crashing down, and stay home on the outside pitches.
They're going to stack the box here on the Wolfpack. Handoff up the middle. Rugai with a spin move. Still on his feet. 1st and 10 for the Wolfpack.
Number 1, Darvian Moore.
Darby and Moore credited with the tackle.
A gain of 12, good for a Wolfpack first down.
Partner, you played on the defensive end of the ball. How tough is it to go from looking at spread offenses to triple option? Not just a triple option, but it's all under center from St. Ignatius.
It's definitely an adjustment for sure.
Wolfpack at their own 32
You're looking
yard
for
line.
all different things on defense.
3 options.
Sometimes.
I was going to say 3 options, but go ahead.
Sometimes behind that offensive line, it gets a little tough to see the quarterback with all those running backs, quarterback, all stacked in the box close to each other.
Rugai and the carry.
Another decent gain for Rugai.
With all those moving parts in the
A gain of
backfield,
4.
sometimes it gets a little confusing to see where the ball's going.
Bloss was a little slow to get up. 2nd and 5.
Hit initially by 73, Nick Tomey.
Well, it's a tie game right now, but St. Ignatius is definitely winning the battle. They actually had a touchdown. Look at that after the game. I thought he crossed the pylon. Meanwhile, the Wolfpack going right down the field once again.
2nd and 5 at the 37.
Petro under center. He's got Stewart at tight end. Petro still has it. On his feet, he gets a short gain.
On the keeper. Gain of 2.
And they're going to give him 2 yards on the carry. 3rd and 3, ball at the 39. If they get 2 yards, Mark, you could consider going for it. You already wasted a timeout, though, so if you want to do the hard count and you call a timeout, you'd be down to 1 timeout left. Meanwhile, 3rd and 3, Notre Dame having trouble getting out of the line of scrimmage. Hard count by Petro, and they almost draw him offside. Now Deach gets back into the game. They're going to put him on the line of scrimmage at the tight end spot. Carey in the slot. And another hard count by the Wolfpack. They did not get Notre Dame to draw offside. Timeout, Miller. We'll take a timeout as well. It's Wolfpack nothing, Dons nothing here on SBS, a broadcasting network for everyone.
Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. For those of you who would like to broadcast or live stream your event, or maybe make a highlight tape, but would like a sponsor to fund the event, SBS has a myriad of ways to advertise your sponsor during our broadcasts. We have commercials. We have on-air reads by the announcers.
Albatross Physical Therapy and Wellness specializes in pain-free.
We have graphics. And we have watermarks. Finally, Sports Broadcast Solutions can create a commercial for you or your sponsor. Whatever your sports broadcast needs, we are at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Check us out and become part of the digital sporting world.
Here we go, 3rd and 3 for the Wolfpack. Wolfpack down to their last time out of the half. And it's not even the 2nd quarter yet.
3rd down and 3 for the Wolfpack at their own 39-yard line.
See what they want to run off the timeout. Petro under center, Rugai in the backfield. Rugai again, he's got a hole.
Rugai in the
and
carry.
Close to the 1st down.
4th down about 33, Fornelli.
Fornelli again, that's his 3rd tackle of the game, but it's not good enough. 1st and 10 for the Wolfpack, and partner, if Fornelli hadn't made that tackle, it might have been a touchdown run for Rugai.
Yeah, that play definitely could have broken pretty deep.
1st down Wolfpack at their own 48-yard line.
But nonetheless, good run, good 1st down right there.
You can just reset. No,
43-yard line.
1st and 10, ball at the 43. 1:17 remaining in the quarter. Handoff. No, it's a fake. Now it's a pitch play to Connor, and he gets the edge.
Connor on the carry.
Wow, they faked out me. It's just so hard to defend this triple option. Even the announcer doesn't even know what's going on. They stopped the clock at 1:10. 2nd and 6 for the Wolfpack. Ball placed at the 43.
2nd and 6 at the 47.
And now the fans are here. They got here late, but better late than never. 2nd and 6. Stack formation for the Wolfpack. Rugai, a short gain. He dives forward for more yards.
A gain of 3.
3 yards and a cloud of dust for the Wolfpack. Meanwhile,
there's a timeout on the field.
Randy Russ Jr. holding his knee, partner. You hate to see it, but injuries are a part of the game.
Definitely hate to see a player down on the field. He's worked so hard this season to get to this point. Definitely the last thing you want to see out here is an injury on the field.
Knee injuries. I know it's a playoff game. It's do or die. Randy Russ Jr., this might be his last game ever playing football. 5'11", 185-pound senior from Union Ridge.
Now hopefully it could just be a cramp, the cold weather out here.
Yeah, true. He has to leave for at least one play. If he wants to, they could bring him back in. But partner, it's going to be a grueling game on defense. Even if he's healthy, would you wait till the second half to bring him back in? Because you're going to need him in the second half more than the first half.
I definitely think take him to the sidelines, see how he feels, maybe take some time. Go to halftime once you get in the locker rooms. See how his knee is feeling, see if he can feel a little bit better, maybe get back out there.
It's such a different game, right? It feels like it should be 7-0 St. Ignatius. After everything well that St. Ignatius has done, it's still a tie game. So Notre Dame, all they have to think about is, all we got to do is win the scoreboard. They can outgain us all game long as we beat them on the scoreboard.
Yeah, definitely. Both of these defenses have looked great so far. And there you see the Niles Notre Dame teammates helping their teammate off the field. Hopefully he's all right and come back for the second half and finish out the game strong.
Being helped off the field by Michael Bird as well as Callum Christie. Callum Christie, the senior offensive lineman, 6'10", 210 pounds. If you're wondering, the biggest guy on this offensive line and defensive line for the Dons, Jerry Spano, 6'0", 290 pounds. 3rd and 2, ball at the 49 of the Dons. They run Deach in motion, handoff to Rugai, 1st and 10 for the Wolfpack.
Rugai in the carry. Good for 3, and a Wolfpack first down.
Yeah, that St. Ignatius offensive line will just keep pushing. They'll keep taking gains, keep picking up first downs. Good run right there for the Wolfpack.
I think you just got to stack the box, partner, and if St. Ignatius runs play action touchdown pass, you just live with it because nothing is working on defense right now for the Dons.
I definitely think stacking the box would be the option here for the Niles Notre Dame Fighting Dons. St. Ignatius continues to pick up these tough yards in the trenches. That offensive line is working hard today.
1st and 10 to the 44 for Rugai again. 1st and 10 and more for the Wolfpack. 15 yards for Rugai.
First down, Wolfpack.
I think also for this Wolfpack team, as the clock continues to run under 25 seconds now, 22.7 to be exact. This Rugai guy, he just never gets tired. He's still on the field again. He runs a 15-yard A-gap run, and he's back on the field at fullback. Jumbo set. Rugai again. No, it's Petro with a fake. Petro, 1st and 10 and more for the Wolfpack.
A gain of 15.
And that's the thing, partner. If I can't see it, imagine playing defensive end. If I can't see it, can they even see it?
Yeah, great run right there by the quarterback. Seeing that the defensive end crashed down, keeping the ball for himself and picking up a nice gain to end the quarter.
The quarter ends, it's 0-0, but the Wolfpack have been in the red zone twice today. On their second chance, will they score? We'll find out in a couple minutes from now. You're watching the Wolfpack against the Dons here on SBS.
Missing your child's sporting event just plain stinks. But you don't have to worry about that anymore, thanks to Sports Broadcast Solutions. SBS is a live broadcasting network, as well as covering your on-demand needs, recruiting videos, highlight reels, and much, much more. We can broadcast live to any website, and we also post as much on-demand content as you need. For more information about SBS, check out our website at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Sports Broadcast Solutions, a broadcasting network for everyone.
St. Ignatius ball again, their second possession of the game. And partner, Notre Dame, they beat the #1 seed last week. Are they a little bit tired from last week's game? All that emotion, all that drive, because they're just not having a lot of stops on defense today against St. Ignatius.
Definitely a lot of emotion in that game, beating the #1 seed in 6A. It's a great win right there for the Dons.
They beat Wakanda 17-8. It's a tie game right now. Handoff up the middle. Short gain for Rugai. 3-yard run for Rugai. 2nd and 7. Ball at the 13.
42, Eamon Murphy on the tackle.
Clock continues to run. 11:44 remaining in the quarter.
Second and 7. At the 13.
Pitch play to Bloss, and they run it all the way. Tackle for a loss from the Dons.
Number 5, Cam Van Horn.
Van Horn credited with the tackle.
Loss of a yard.
After all that, it was only a 1-yard loss. Good job of Bloss absorbing the contact and getting any kind of positive yardage from the initial hit. Back to the original line of scrimmage, 3rd and 10 at the 16.
Back to the 16. 3rd and 10.
Henry Helms is the kicker for St. Ignatius, if you're wondering. It's about a 33-yard kick if they kicked it from here. For most teams, it's an obvious passing down. They're going to pass it this time. Petro over the middle and dropped. He had a man, but it was a tight window, and Deach dropped it.
Alex Deach broken up.
Definitely a little tougher for a team that doesn't pass the ball as much, not used to passing the ball as much.
Helms will kick to make it 3-0 St. Ignatius, and how big was that touchback awarded to the Dons? This kick would make it 10-0, but because of the touchback, it only gives St. Ignatius the lead.
Henry Helms on the kick.
It's all about rhythm. Got to have a good snap and a good hold. Matthew Huey with the hold. The kick has the distance, and it's good.
Wolfpack lead 3-zip.
3-0 Wolfpack. The first lead of the game is a field goal. We'll take a break. It's 3-0 Wolfpack here on SBS.
This is Sports Broadcast Solutions, a broadcasting network for everyone. Check us out at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com and become part of the digital sporting world.
Wolfpack here on SBS, a broadcasting network for everyone. I'm Kyle Smith alongside Mark Forden. All that matters, partner, is the scoreboard. St. Ignatius is dominating this game, but because of that touchback, they're only up by 1 score instead of 2.
Yeah, now's Notre Dame has done a good job of stopping the bleeding. St. Ignatius has done a great job of getting downfield. Now all they have to do is capitalize once they get deep into that now's Notre Dame red zone.
25, Tomei back deep.
Tomei deep for the Dons.
Booming kick.
And it was a great kick. Williamson will take the touchback. You can see the frustration in Tomei as he wanted that to be a short kick and a return. That's the other problem too, partner. It's hard for teams to get a good rhythm on offense because they never get the ball. The Wolfpack just run the clock to the point where you're just out cold on the sideline, getting colder, the wind picks up, and by the time you're on offense, you kind of forgot what you were doing because you haven't been on offense in a while.
That's definitely St. Ignatius' bread and butter. They're going to try and wear this defense down, run the clock as much as possible, and win this game in the trenches.
Notre Dame, it's been a long time since they were on offense. They got a first down, then they were stopped on 3rd and long, a deflection from Rugai. You're not going to get the ball a lot on St. Ignatius, so when you do, you better score. Ricciardi, and it's a short gain. Actually, it's a loose ball. Might have fumbled the snap. And the Dons get it back.
Recovered by the Dons.
Watch out for their fullback wide receiver. He also plays some tight end. That's Will Meyer, number 44. Decent size, 6 foot even, 185 pounds. From St. Paul, the Cross. Partner, I know you want to get a first down, but a turnover there would be deadly to the Dons. Find a way to not turn over the ball in this possession.
Yeah, that would definitely be disastrous to have a turnover right there for Notre Dame.
In the pocket, pressure comes, breaks through it. It's a quarterback keeper for Ricciardi, close to the first down marker, and he got it.
Ricciardi and the keeper.
Ricciardi looks for the flag, but it was not a late hit.
It's a great job right there, stepping up in the pocket, seeing some open green grass in front of him, and taking it for the Nows Notre Dame first down.
By the way, the text line is open tonight. Your favorite high school, college, or NFL memory, text 330-957-7653. Almost a sack, but Ricciardi got out of the pressure and got the first down. First and 10. They're going to place it at the 32. Clock stop for now, 9:51. Kemp now at man-to-man coverage. Late handoff and a break for St. Ignatius, as it was a slow developing play for the Dons. Tomei on the handoff, just got a couple of yards. 2nd and 7, ball at the 35, clock running now.
Gain of 4. 2nd and 6.
It's second and a very short 7 for the Dons. Ricciardi has not done much passing the ball. They're trying to do some screens. Now a clean pocket for Ricciardi. Short gain, huge hit. It's delivered by Toronto.
The number 6, Quentin Jackson, no gain.
They didn't even get a yard. 3rd and 7. What do you
36.
What do you think here, partner? Try to get your tight ends involved with a little comeback route.
I definitely like something over the middle to the tight ends here.
See if you can get the legal pick play where both wide receivers run the crosser and then you set up your tight end over the middle.
Definitely could be a good call for Notre Dame.
4 wide receiver set. See if they get it to the tight end and Meyer. Another clean pocket for Ricciardi. Quick pass.
Complete to number 29, Francesco Ricciardi.
Waiting for the chains to move. They will.
Nice little quick curl route to the slot receiver right there. Gain of 8 yards for Notre Dame.
At the Don 43-yard line.
This is a Notre Dame team. They went to the semifinals in 2018. They went to the playoffs every year except for last year. Trying to get back to the semifinals under legendary head coach Michael Hennessy, who's in the High School Football Hall of Fame for the state of Illinois. Little quarterback keeper, positive yardage for the Dons.
Ricciardi and the keeper. Ball spotted at the 50-yard line.
Nice little draw right there to pick up 6 yards on first down.
2nd and 3.
Wow. Got more than I thought he did. 7 yards on the quarterback keeper. 2nd and 3, ball at midfield, right at the 50. See if they run it again. 1 in the backfield. They've shut down Frank Ricciardi today, has the Wolfpack. Handoff. Short gain, and he did not get the first.
Tomei on the carry. Brought down by Rugai.
3rd and 1. That's the problem too, partner. A lot of these teams, they don't run anything under center, including the 3rd and 1 plays. So if you're going to do a 3rd and 1 shotgun, it's got to be a quick snap. Otherwise, St. Ignatius is going to get instant penetration.
Definitely, maybe something right back to the quarterback here. Try and keep it up the middle.
See if they go under center. No, it's a minor shotgun.
Looks like they'll stay in the shotgun here.
Only need a yard for the first. Trying to draw him offside. And he did not get it.
Ricciardi and the keeper.
The Dons say he did. I don't think he did. They don't measure a lot at the high school level, and he's short. Well, partner, I think at the very least for Notre Dame, try to draw him offside. You got all 3 timeouts.
And 8 inches.
I definitely think this is a situation to go for it. You got a 4th and inches.
And like I said, you don't have to go for it. You can try to draw him offside, call your timeout, then punt. I would personally go for it because you haven't stopped the Wolfpack anyway on defense.
Let's see what the Niles Notre Dame coaching staff has in mind here for this big 4th and inches.
Definitely going to do a hard count. It's an all-out blitz for the Wolfpack. Pressure comes, and I think he got it. He's still on his feet.
He's still on his feet.
At the sideline, stiff arm, one man to beat.
What a
run by Ricciardi.
On the carry.
What a run.
Stiff arm and a beauty. Play of the game thus far, especially if Notre Dame scores a touchdown here.
Just a great job of staying on his feet right there. Never stopped turning his legs, and it paid off for him.
1st and goal, they're going to place it at the 6. Ricciardi up the middle, stuffed. Ball's loose! Is it a fumble?
Recovered by the Wolfpack.
Waiting for the call though. And he was down.
I'm going to say he was down. Fornelli Field fans definitely not happy about that one as the stadium is starting to fill up here on this brisk Saturday afternoon.
I think it was the right call, partner. Sure looked like he was down.
I definitely think his knee was down as well. Sometimes gets a little bit tough to see once those piles start to pile up down there, but the referees will say he was down.
2nd and 6. Tomei in the backfield. And Notre Dame's going to call a timeout.
On the field.
Timeout called by head coach Michael Hennessy. We'll take a break as well. You're watching the Wolfpack against the Dons here on SBS.
Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. For those of you that just want raw footage of your sporting event, but no play-by-play or color commentary, you just need us to live stream video from the event over the internet. We will live stream your event on YouTube on our Sports Broadcast Solutions channel. In addition, we also have a dedicated channel on YouTube for live streaming at SBS Livestream. And if you need multiple channels, we can utilize Facebook Livestream and Instagram Live on our channel as well. Options include commercials from your sponsors, professional scoreboard graphics are still available, and of course, yes, pre- and post-game interviews are available as an option if you want.
We've been working really hard this whole summer and stuff.
Whatever your sports broadcast needs, we are at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Check us out and become part of the digital sporting world.
All right, partners, 2nd and goal. Ball at the 6-yard line.
Downs at the Wolfpack 6-yard line.
Couple big plays here coming up for Niles Notre Dame. Let's see what the staff is drawing up.
They run Williamson in motion. Out of the pocket is Ricciardi. He's got room to run. He'll run for it. He's hit hard. Did he get in?
Big Catholic League collision there near the pylon.
Wow.
Let's see what the referees say.
He's short.
Say it was a yard short.
Knocked out of bounds at the 1-yard line. 3rd and goal from the 1.
Well, this is kind of the play that Andy Reid likes to call on 3rd and 1. Remember, he would like to put Dontari Poe as an eligible wide receiver, the little jump pass.
Right, try to hit him in the corner of the end zone.
Yeah. See if they do that with a big guy and make him an eligible wide receiver. 3rd and 1, huge run by Ricciardi to set him up. Right up the middle. Did he get in? He did.
It's off for Notre Dame. Touchdown.
Touchdown, Dons. Rugai said he got the ball, but it was too late. He crossed the pylon. Controversy galore at Fornelli. Rugai said he was not in yet. They say touchdown, 6-3 in favor of the Dons. +3. And they're thinking about going for 2. It's one of those crazy plays where they have a stacked box.
27, Ahmad Shinnick in for the extra point.
And Shinnick will do the extra point.
Number 9, Vincenzo Ricciardi to set the hold.
Shinnick's a senior from Wildwood. Good snap, good hold. Missed it.
kick is no good.
After all that, the Wolfpack only trail by a field goal, and they're getting the ball late in the first half. We'll take a break. You're watching the Wolfpack against the Dons here on Sports Broadcast Solutions. The other one.
This is Sports Broadcast Solutions, a broadcasting network for everyone. Check us out at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com and become part of the digital sporting world.
The state quarterfinals here on SBS, a broadcasting network for everyone. St. Ignatius trailing by 3, but they're going to get the ball back. Some shout-outs today. Mimi Boyle, a longtime Ignatius supporter. Eleanor Manning, a future Ignatian. And Claire Biasco wishes she went to St. Ignatius. The text line's still open, by the way. Another pop kick. And the Wolfpack called for the fair catch. It was dropped initially by Deach, but he got it back.
Ball down.
Gets a little tough with those pooch kicks sometimes because the upbacks aren't normally used to catching the ball right there, but it's a good job of just jumping on the ball. First down, St. Ignatius.
Field goal would tie it, but the Wolfpack are thinking 6. What a run that was by Ricky Artie. It went from a 1-yard run to a 30-yard run.
Just an outstanding run right there, and it pays off for him as he gets to 6.
Starting to pick up in terms of wind at Fornelli Field. Rugai. Nope, it's Petro. Right up the middle with room to run. Fumble. Wolfpack go after it. Who got it?
Let's see who comes up with the ball after that pile up.
There were a couple Wolfpack players around it. Wolfpack ball.
The keeper. Gain of 30. Loose ball recovered by the Wolfpack.
Carter,
a great run right there.
They might have to put some duct tape around the ball once they've handled it because both teams are having trouble holding on to it.
Definitely, partner. You got to wonder if it's getting a little tougher to hold the ball out there with this cold weather. Stiff ball.
They've been so good on the fakes. Every time I think it's to Rugai, and then Petro takes it out and handles it himself.
Against the Dons, they're first.
First and 10 at the Don 47. Petro, clean pocket, he's going to pass. Looks downfield, wide open, and he overthrew him. He overthrew Stewart. Oh boy, Petro would love to have that one back.
He barely overthrows Stiller by a yard right there.
One thing Petro has to work on if he's going to play at the next level, just completing those passes. It was a good route by Stewart, just overthrew him just a tad. You got to wonder, did Stewart get a bad break on the ball and why he didn't dive for it? But it was overthrown by a good 2-3 yards. Wolfpack still in good shape though. 2nd and 10 at the 48. Clock stops at 4:28. Handoff to Rugai. Breaking through tackle, still on his feet. And now he's down. See where they spot it. It should be inside the 40, but they're going to say his knee was initially down at the 41.
A gain of 7. 3rd and 3.
3rd and 2 for the Wolfpack. Ball at the 40. Clock continues to run at 4:05. Now they'll spot it 3rd and 3. It's a very long 2 at the very least. This triple option by the Wolfpack. Man, is it tough to stop. Rugai in the backfield. Connor to help out with some blocking. They run Deach in motion. Petro takes it himself. He dives for the first. Cameron Van Horn says it's short. And the sideline judge agrees.
Should be short by a yard.
Definitely going to go for it. 4th and 1.
4th down and a yard at the Don 39-yard line.
Might be the play of the game. I know it's early to say that. It's only the first half, but it's such a big play. 4th and 1. Everybody's standing up in excitement. Rugai, First and 10 and more. Lowers his shoulder for the first down.
Vinny Rugai on the carry.
Possibly a touchdown-saving tackle. And it was delivered by Leo Fratarigo.
Cornelli. Good for Wolfpack, first down. At the Don 29-yard line.
Clock not really a factor as it stops on a first down. Wolfpack would love to have 6. Trailing by 3. Flag on the field. It's a pitch play to Bloss. And he's delivered out of bounds.
Bloss on the carry. There's a flag on the field.
It's on the Wolfpack. Probably illegal motion.
Legal procedure against the Wolfpack.
They'll call procedure against St. Ignatius. Usually they blow that dead right away, partner. Surprised they let the play happen. And that makes it 1st and 15. As you can see our nice little flag icon on the screen. 1st and 15, ball at the 34. They'll start the clock again, under 2:40 to go.
1st and 15 at the Don, 34.
Wolfpack. Petro under center, and he gets a couple yards on the gain.
Gain of 2.
Petro won the job halfway in his junior year, beat out Coleman McDonough, who's actually the backup for the Dons. He transferred to Notre Dame. Helms warming up on the sideline, staying warm also.
2nd and 11 at the Don 30-yard line.
I'm not going to say a backbreaker if the Dons give up a touchdown here, partner, but it would certainly hurt giving up a long drive here with a touchdown.
Definitely. That Notre Dame defense is going to try and stay strong here, protect that lead.
Good pass out to the right to Stewart. Stutter step move down the sideline. 1st and 10 for the Wolfpack.
Stewart, good for a Wolfpack first down.
Great catch and run there by Stiller. St. Ignatius finally finds a way to get him the ball after that overthrow over the middle a couple plays ago. Great play, first down Wolfpack.
I'd actually consider throwing it again, but I'd throw like a bubble screen, something short, try to keep the confidence going for Petro.
Definitely like the screen pass here, first down. Got about 1 minute, 44 seconds left.
Handoff to Bloss. Actually, it's Deach. And he's going to run forward a couple more yards. No, it was Bloss. I was right the first time.
Inside the 10-yard line.
Good play call right there by St.
Down
Ignatius.
to the 8-yard line.
And 89, he's not on the roster. I think that's Michael Collins. He's listed as 88 in the roster we got. Second and 3. Ball at the 8. It's a pitch play to Bloss. Room to run. Waiting for the signal. Touchdown, Wolfpack. Tommy Bloss and partner, what a call by head coach Matt Miller. The fake handoff pitch play. That's why they call it the triple option.
Outstanding call, outstanding execution right there by St. Ignatius. And these fans at Fornelli Field are excited. Wolfpack regain the lead.
And partner, how big was missing that extra point? If St. Ignatius makes that, if Helms makes it, the field goal doesn't help you.
Yeah, definitely going to try and put this extra point through the uprights here. Go up 4. It'll be interesting to see what Niles Notre Dame does with 1 minute and 3 seconds left.
I think you go out for it. Good snap, good hold. Kick is good by Helms.
Kick is good.
10-6, the men in green trail by 4. What will they do when they get the ball back? We'll find out in 30 seconds. You're watching the Wolfpack against the Dons here on SBS.
This is Sports Broadcast Solutions, a broadcasting network for everyone. Check us out at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com and become part of the digital sporting world.
What a game. Wolfpack up by 4. They fumbled. The Dons have fumbled. And both teams giving their heart out in the semifinals. Henry Helms will kick.
Another booming kick. That'll go right into the end zone.
Touchback.
Well, partner, here's the thing. You got 2 timeouts left. Clock stops on a first down. If you want to go all out and try to get some points on the board, what kind of plays do you want to run? Some quick passing plays, or do you want some post routes to get a good chunk of yardage?
I definitely think you might start off the drive with a couple short routes, but eventually once that clock starts to get below 1 minute, you want to start getting chunks of yardage so you can get into the red zone and have a good enough time to put the ball in the end zone or maybe decide if you want to kick a field goal.
Ricciardi, the quarterback, he's done a lot more damage running the ball than passing. Clean pocket, looks to the right. Comeback route, ball in the air! Oh, Toronto almost picked it off.
Intended for number 4, Howard Williamson, broken up.
You want to blame the quarterback a lot, right? The quarterback gets a lot of the blame, a lot of credit. Part of that one wasn't on the quarterback. Wide receiver's got to catch the ball.
Yeah, I definitely think the wide receiver should make the catch on that one. Big hit by the corner right there to knock that ball loose.
Well, if you got 2 timeouts, I think you try one more pass and then run it.
2nd and 10 for the Dons at their own 20.
Now, St. Ignatius has 1 timeout left, so the Wolfpack are going to wait till 3rd down to call it. Quarterback keeper, spinorama, a good one. Gets an extra couple of yards after the spinorama.
By 24, Declan Boyle.
Boyle on the tackle. 3rd down coming up, and I think he just let the clock run. Go into halftime. Down by 4. The good news for the Dons is they get the ball back in the second half.
Yeah, it looks like Notre Dame could be content being down 10-6 at half on the road. Get the ball back in the second half, go into halftime here and figure out what you want to do on that first drive coming out of half.
3rd and 7, ball at the 23. And it's a handoff out to the sideline. Swarm of Wolfpack there to greet him, and it wasn't a friendly greeting.
Caught short.
And that'll do it for the first half. The Wolfpack lead 10-6. Oh, how about this? Miller's going to call a late timeout.
Timeout called on the field. The Wolfpack, their final timeout.
Well, you know what, partner? We'll stick with the action, by the way, with 6 seconds left. I like the idea. A lot of bad things can happen on a punt. It could be a bad snap. It could be a block kick.
Definitely.
You know, he could shank it, and there could be like 1 second left on the clock. You never know, right?
Definitely with this cold weather, make him punt it here.
4th and 7, ball at the 23, and if you could hear the fan section for the Dons, they were saying some words we can't say on the air, and they were like, "No, you can't call timeout with 6 seconds left." Nah, it's not Bush League; it's part of the game.
Yep, looks like St. Ignatius has other ideas. Call a timeout, make Notre Dame punt the ball here.
I think the Wolfpack are going to do the all-out block. A return really doesn't help you unless you think Notre Dame's going to kick it in the middle of the field.
Janice on the punt.
They're going to have Deach back just in case, but I don't think they're going to try to return it. And in fact, I think the Wolfpack, led by Kuban, are going to kick it out of bounds. Line drive kick, and Rugai almost touched it. 1 second, now 0, and that will do it for the half.
Yeah, we go into halftime. Some snow starting to fall here at Fornelli Field.
Wolfpack lead at half. Who will advance the semifinals? We'll find out in 24 minutes on the game clock. You're watching the Wolfpack against the Dons here on SBS. How does it sound?
Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. Let SBS broadcast your sporting event. We have experience and can generate excitement and permanent digital memories for your team.
Tonight. That time, finally a goal for the Stampede!
We have professional videographers using high-definition modern-day cameras, color analysts, and play-by-play announcers with state-of-the-art, classy graphical scoreboards to keep you updated. Plus, we have commercials to advertise your team, club, or sponsor, and us. Plus, we do pregame and postgame interviews.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the postgame show brought to you by Marion Central Catholic. My name's Kyle Smith. Well, my name doesn't matter. These young ladies matter. It's senior night as the Hurricanes win a battle down the stretch, 48-46.
Hi, I'm Carrie Kramer. I swam 50 breast, 50 free and 100 back.
Whatever your sports broadcast needs, we are at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Check us out and become part of the digital sporting world.
It's November 4th, 2001. The 5-1 Chicago Bears are hosting the 4-2 Cleveland Browns. This is the last year of Old Soldier Field, as the Bears will have to play in Champaign next season while new Soldier Field gets built. Champaign is, of course, the home of the Illinois Fighting Illini, but it's located nowhere near Chicago. We'll talk about that storyline in a minute, but for now, let's analyze this moment. An overtime game is thrilling in its own right, and how the Bears exactly got here is simply remarkable. Overtime just got started. But for Bears fans, they know from previous experience that anything can happen early on during OT. Why is that exactly the case? To fully understand, let's rewind. The Bears entered Week 7 with a record of 5-1, but really, they should at least be 4-2. 15-point deficit halfway through the fourth quarter, with starting quarterback Jim Miller exiting the game in the second quarter with a left hip pointer. Things looked very bleak for the Bears, but Chicago overcame deficits of 28-9 and 31-15 to somehow force overtime. Shane Matthews, the backup quarterback for Chicago, went against the odds and completed 12 straight passes late in the second half. Even still, the game seemed practically lost when the Bears offense faced 4th and 3 at the 49ers' 8-yard line. But Matthews threw a frozen rope to tight end John Davis to keep the chains moving. It took everything for the Bears to tie the game. Besides Matthews having to complete 12 consecutive passes, it also took an official's review for the Bears to cut the deficit down to 31-29. There wasn't indisputable evidence to overrule the initial call, allowing David Terrell's touchdown reception to stand. Still, the Bears needed a 2-point conversion to tie the game. Gut check time for the Bears, and on their first ever 2-point conversion of the season, offensive coordinator John Shoup relied on the rookie tailback for an I-formation 2-yard run. Luck with Jeff Garcia, Garrison Hurst, and Terrell Owens, all primed to make the Pro Bowl. Mariucci trusted his offense against the usually stellar Bears defense. It turned out to be the wrong move. Trusting in Owens, Garcia connected with the future Hall of Famer over the middle, but Owens choked and dropped it, going right into the hands of Mike Brown. The rookie safety caught the drop pass and ran into the end zone for a pick-6 victory. Just like that, the Bears are riding a 5-game winning streak headed into another home game against Cleveland. Remember how we said this is the last year at nostalgic Soldier Field? Chicago was reeling from the September 11th terrorist attacks, especially since it was quickly found out through United States law enforcement that the Sears Tower could have been one of the targets on a suicide mission. Al-Qaeda notes from a captured terrorist operative proved that Osama bin Laden originally wanted to target the largest buildings in Los Angeles and Chicago, but then ultimately changed his mind. Chicago firefighters even volunteered to drive to New York City to help out at Ground Zero, knowing quite well that the Sears Tower could have been just as bad as the inevitable tragedy of the Twin Towers kamikaze mission. As the country continued to recover from the 3,000 people dead on that fateful day, the 2001 season turned out to be a true underdog year for the Bears. The Bears, who hadn't won the division in 10 years and hadn't even played in the postseason since 1994, entered Week 8 in first place of the NFC Central Division. In the last year of Soldier Field, in a season that had to start Week 2 one Sunday later due to the events of 9/11, the Bears helped the healing process of their fans by winning games in the most unconventional of ways. In 3 of the Bears' 5 consecutive wins, Matthews or Miller each threw at least 2 interceptions per game. After scoring just 9 points through the first 7 quarters of their season, the Bears scored 14 unanswered points to beat the Vikings, then demolished the Falcons and Bengals. For a franchise who won't even be playing in Chicago in 2002, a division championship this season is very crucial to try and lure free agents. Remember, the Bears had to settle on Champaign-Urbana to be its home next season, with Memorial Stadium having 11,000 more seat capacity than Ryan Field, the home of the Northwestern Wildcats in nearby Evanston. Having the games at the University of Notre Dame was an appealing destination, but with most of the fans living in Illinois versus Indiana, President Ted Phillips and the franchise decided that Memorial Stadium would be the best fit. New Soldier Field will be ready by the 2003 home opener. Richard M. Daley, along with the NFL and city officials, decided to invest $587 million to renovate Soldier Field. Only $200 million is coming from the Bears. The other $387 million came from bonds that would be retired from the city hotel tax. The Bears also had to take out a $100 million loan from the NFL for stadium improvements, but they plan to recoup their expenses from a personal seat license fee at New Soldier Field. In other words, this is a very expensive venture from the Charter franchise. The new stadium will have 61,500 seats, 8,000 club seats, and 133 luxury suites. But there will be fewer tailgate lots around the stadium to make room for its 2,500 space underground parking structure between the New Soldier Field and the Field Museum. As such, it's very important for the Bears to remain relevant in 2001 so that fans will make the drive to Champaign in 2002 and will still be excited for the new stadium come 2003. And as we see on the screen, the Bears are tied with the Browns early on in overtime. But the Browns are a Cinderella story in its own right. The Browns are a new franchise, but not really. The old Cleveland Browns, who were owned by Art Modell, moved to Baltimore following the 1995 regular season. According to Modell, he had no choice but to move because Cleveland didn't have the funds to build a first-class stadium. When Modell said the move to Baltimore was official, a public referendum passed to fund the improvements to Municipal Stadium. It was too little too late, though, as Modell wanted the Cleveland Browns to become the Baltimore Ravens. Cleveland never won the Super Bowl, but in just its 5th season in Baltimore, the Ravens won the big game in dominating fashion. The Ravens had to begin operations in 1996 as an expansion franchise, but with 2 first-round picks that April, they drafted franchise staples in Jonathan Ogden and Ray Lewis. The new Browns, meanwhile, entered the NFL as a 1999 expansion franchise. In a crazier twist of fate, the first ever owner of the Browns would be Al Lerner, a close friend of Modell who had been with him when the Ravens began operations. And to make matters even worse, the Browns could have drafted Kurt Warner during the 1999 expansion draft. They didn't, and Warner went on to win the 1999 MVP and Super Bowl MVP trophies with the greatest show on turf, St. Louis Rams. But the 2001 Browns are starting to turn things around. In its 3rd year of existence, in the post-Modell era, and with the franchise keeping its records and colors of the former team, the new Browns are 4-2 and probably should have won their 5th game in regulation. The ball fell right into Mike Brown's lap one weekend ago, but not today thus far. In fact, Brown should have had a pick late in the 3rd quarter, but the ball somehow fell out of his hands and right into the breadbasket of Kevin Johnson. Incredibly, the should-be interception became a long touchdown pass to make it 21-7 Browns. That touchdown pass became the last score for the next 14 minutes of game action. The Bears scored what looked to be a garbage touchdown with under a minute to go in the 4th quarter. Shane Matthews was everything you would expect from a backup quarterback. Matthews has thrown 50 passes thus far, only completed 30 of them, got strip sacked, and threw 3 picks. His fumble inevitably was scooped up by Courtney Brown for the scoop and score on the first drive of the game. The Bears haven't led all game long, and if they win in overtime, their first lead will be the last lead of the game en route to a Bears win. And for the Bears to even have the opportunity for a pick-6 overtime win, it's something that a novelist would write. Remember that so-called garbage touchdown pass that Marty Booker caught? Well, that touchdown reception shouldn't have mattered. With less than 3 timeouts remaining and past the 2-minute warning, Chicago had to recover an onside kick just to preserve the game. And as if the football gods want Chicago to win because the Sears Tower was an initial terrorist destination, the Bears somehow recovered the onside kick to get a second chance. The Bears should probably be called the Cats due to the 9 lives they endured the past 2 weeks at Soldier Field. Just look at this onside kick again. Percy Ellsworth couldn't handle the wobbling ball because of the unnatural hop that it took off the grass. Jerry Azuma, who formerly won the Walter Payton Award as the best Division I AA player in the nation, knocked the ball back into play where backup linebacker Bobby Howard dove for the pigskin and grabbed it. Simply incredible, but the Bears were still a long way away from tying this game. With under 30 seconds left and only 1 timeout remaining, the Bears had to use the sideline as much as possible. 2 dump-off passes by Matthews kept the Bears 34 yards away from the end zone, and head coach Dick Duran had to call the team's final timeout after James Allen got wrapped up into the field of play. Knowing quite well that this would be the last play of regulation, Matthews took his time in the pocket. Then he stepped into his throw and delivered a Hail Mary heave. What do you do when it comes to a Hail Mary? Knock it straight down, of course. But rookie David Terrell might have knocked it towards his teammates or Ellsworth, and running back James Allen made an acrobatic catch right on top of Marty Booker for the potential game-changing TD catch. Paul Edinger knocked home the game-tying point after touchdown to tie the score. It's just incredible that the Bears are in this spot. Des White has overcome 2 bobbled passes to keep his feet in bounds, and the Bears only had a 3% chance of winning the game prior to the memorable onside kick recovery. What a change of events. But unfortunately for Browns fans, they've seen this type of choke job before. From the drive to the fumble, and from Red Right 88 to not drafting Kurt Warner, this fan base has seen it all in terms of disappointments. Just whenever the Browns seem to have things wrapped up, John Elway miraculously drives down the length of the field, 98 yards to be exact, for the game-tying score. Just when the Browns seem to be moving on to the next round of the playoffs, their fans saw Brian Sipe throw a pick in the end zone, and when Ernest Biner was a couple of yards away from tying the AFC Championship game, he fumbled inside the 5-yard line. It's deja vu all over again for the Dog Pound Nation. Or perhaps maybe not. Even though the Bears won the coin flip, the Browns defense did what they did most of the game and held the Chicago offense to a 3-and-out. It's now up to former #1 overall pick Tim Couch to get it done for the Browns. Remember, the Browns selected Couch over Donovan McNabb in 1999. So far, McNabb looks like the better quarterback, but the Browns are one drive away from moving to 5-2 on the season. As such, it's starting to look apparent why Cleveland selected the former Kentucky Wildcat first overall. Granted, McNabb was put in a much better situation in Philadelphia than Couch in Cleveland. It takes a couple or even several years for an expansion franchise to compete, so the Browns might be ahead of schedule with a chance to go 5-2 headed into Week 9. Couch has looked like a first-round pick today, and his most recent completion, a 16-yarder to Kevin Johnson, was anything but mediocre. But the Browns' defense has still looked great today, as evidenced by Roosevelt Colvin's sack immediately following the Couch to Johnson connection. Can the offense and Couch recover from this recent adversity and lead the offense from a 2nd and 15 start? Or will the Bears, who haven't been in the playoffs in 7 years, win an OT for the 2nd consecutive week? The Bears are somehow finding ways to win games with journeyman quarterbacks and Miller and Matthews. Incredibly, the Bears also could have had Warner as their signal caller. Michael McCaskey and Bears ownership called Warner's agent, but Warner had to keep canceling the mandatory tryout/workout due to his upcoming wedding and subsequent honeymoon. And during his honeymoon, Warner's elbow ballooned to the size of a grapefruit when he got bit by a spider or centipede, disallowing him from throwing the football for a couple of weeks. In fact, Warner doesn't know if it was a centipede or a spider. Call it questioning Warner's toughness or being extremely frustrated with Warner consistently postponing the workout, but the Bears didn't call Warner following his unfortunate honeymoon bug bite. The rest of the story's history. Warner won the MVP and Super Bowl MVP awards in 1999, and in 2000, the Rams' offense looked like the best one of all time before Warner had to miss significant time due to a broken middle finger on his throwing hand. Still, the Rams' offense almost made a valiant comeback during last season's wildcard round, and with Warner now 100% healthy in 2001, it's looking worse of a decision that McCaskey didn't give Warner a 3rd chance to work out with the team. All bad decisions aside, the Bears can still win in overtime at Old Soldier Field. Soldier Field is running out of time for memories, but time is starting to stand still for Chicago. Just last week, the Bears came from oblivion to impossible victory. But there's no way, even when the team scored 14 points in less than a minute tonight, to win in overtime again, right? And there's no way that the Bears could win on a defensive touchdown. Well, when Mike Brown plays on your team, anything is possible. Welcome to a moment in history.
Couch out of the shotgun. Throws, that's batted into the air. Intercepted, and the Bears are going to win it. Mike Brown has done it again.
Thanks for watching this version of Rewinder. Make sure to comment below and subscribe to SBS. And if you're wondering, the Bears went on to win the division, the Browns went on a collapse and ended up missing the 2001 postseason.
everybody. Kyle Smith alongside Mark Forden here at Fornelli Field between the Wolfpack and the Dons. What a first half it was, partner. It was actually 4th and short. The Dons were down 3-0, and what a run by Frank Ricciardi. 20-plus yards to get them to 1st and goal at the 6-yard line.
Yeah, outstanding run right there by Ricciardi. Him and his brother have definitely been playing all game like they want to advance to the 6A state semifinals. But Ignatius, on the other hand, wants to be there as well. Both of these teams looking to have a big second half. The defense have played great in the first half. So it should be an interesting second here at Fornelli Field. I'm excited.
We've seen some struggles in terms of snapping the ball. How can you combat that? It's a spread offense, right? So you go shotgun the whole game. But there's been a little bit of a problem from their centers getting the ball off. Should they consider some plays under center, or is there anything you combat that as a long snapper in a center, snapping the ball in the shotgun formation?
Yeah, you definitely got to wonder if now as Notre Dame is thinking about taking some snaps from under center here with the ball being cold in the center, struggling a little bit to get some of those shotgun snaps back to the quarterback, but you also got to wonder how much now as Notre Dame has practiced the snaps under center, and you don't want to complicate things too much for the offense here. So it'll be interesting to see what Notre Dame does in this second half.
It's all about rhythm in the spread. Good snap, all in rhythm, helping out your quarterback go through his progressions quickly. And the other thing too, partner, it's a 5-star recruit at D tackle in Justin Scott. So if you're late on that snap, if it's too slow, you're allowing almost instant penetration from Scott. He's going to get there within 2 seconds from the snap.
Definitely, yeah. It all starts up front. It all starts with that snap from the center to the quarterback, and that's what initiates the offense. So definitely got to make sure to have good snaps.
It's getting colder at Fornelli, but you wouldn't have it any other way. The playoffs, the quarterfinals. Notre Dame gets the ball back as St. Ignatius won the opening coin flip. Helms will kick it off. Williamson deep for the Dons. Shout out to Sale, Raff, Coran, and Inigo watching today's game on NFHS Network. If you like Sports Broadcast Solutions, check out our website at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com for your next broadcast. Henry Helms will kick. It's a slow pop kick, and they'll call for the fair catch near the 27.
Catch called by number 30, Luke Peavy.
Petey will call for the fair catch and get it. And got to be careful if you're Ugwa Uche Ugbana. It was a late touch, but it's just a push. They're not going to call. They're not going to call a flag on that for roughing. But here we go. 1st and 10 for the Dons. Ball at the 28. Ricciardi, the quarterback's done more damage running the ball than throwing. The southpaw signal caller. Handoff up the middle, nowhere. Stuffed by the Wolfpack. Toronto was there.
Down by Boyle.
As was Boyle. Partner, they're going to have to throw the ball. They just can't run the ball, except for that 4th and short. It's so hard to run on this front four of the Wolfpack.
Yeah, this Wolfpack defensive line has done a great job so far.
2nd and 11 at the 27. Fakes the handoff, rolling outside the pocket, and it's deflected away.
Pass intended for 6, Quentin Jackson.
Quentin Jackson, the intended receiver, but Belts with a good deflection.
3rd down and 11.
Outstanding coverage right there by the St. Ignatius Wolfpack. No look to hold him here on 3rd.
Third and 11, partner. Honestly, you could consider going for it if you get 9+ yards here, but I doubt they would.
Yeah, with these pop kicks, it's setting them up somewhat close to midfield. So going for it on 4th is always an option here.
They stack the wide receivers to the left, over the middle, bad pass.
Ricciardi's pass. Intended for number 3.
It was intended for Durkin.
4th down.
And partner, they're going to probably have to do some design runs for Ricciardi. He's just not in rhythm with his wide receivers right now.
Yeah, some design runs could definitely get him back into that rhythm that he was in the first half.
82, Ryan Hammer on the punt for the down.
Maybe start off with something small like some screens.
Alex Deach back
just to get his
for the
confidence
Wolfpack.
back, then start airing it out downfield. Regardless, Notre Dame will punt here.
Kuban in punt formation. And it's a decent kick. Deach will yell out poison. And it's going to roll past the 35, past the 30. Very friendly Don roll.
Down by number 37.
Oh, you got to love high school football. Witek thinks the ball is a human, and he's waving at it to go further, closer to the 20-yard line.
Hey, anything you can do to keep that ball rolling. Took a very friendly fighting down bounce right there.
And if you're wondering, partner, it's just too cold for Deach to pick that ball up and run with it. Not worth the risk there.
Yeah, definitely don't want to risk making any mistake and picking the ball up.
At their own 23-yard line.
There was fighting Dons all around the ball.
Well, can the Dons finally stop the Wolfpack? They haven't done it all night. 1st and 10 at the 23. That time they do. Good stuff at the line of scrimmage. He gets a yard at the point of attack. 2nd and 9 as the clock runs. Under 11 minutes now.
Knocked down by 88, Carl Schmaltz.
Carl Schmaltz gets credit for the tackle. Partner, would you want to pass here or maybe one more run before you pass?
I definitely think you might want to run the ball here. Try and pick up a couple more yards here on 2nd down. Stick with what you're good at. Stick to your bread and butter, running the ball on this triple option. And maybe try a tight end pop pass over the middle here on 3rd down.
Rugai in the carry.
Rugai gets a short gain.
Tripped up by 21.
And you're seeing some excellent open field tackling from the Dons. Leading the charge on defense
Gain of a couple.
is Jim Amator.
3rd down and 4 at the Wolfpack 30-yard line.
3rd and 4 for the Wolfpack. They almost had a touchdown pass earlier in the first half, but Petro overthrew him. Text line open at 330-957-7653. Handoff to Bloss. He's got blockers in front near the sideline, and he got the first down.
On the carry.
Outstanding blocking on that play on the outside right there. Great job on the run. Keep those legs churning. Pick up a Wolfpack 1st down.
Good for a Wolfpack 1st down.
It's just so hard to stop, partner. It's 3 options, and you've got a 6'4" quarterback leading the charge. It's hard to tackle him. Then you got Rugai who can run a 4.8, and you've got Kemp who can run a 4.6. We haven't even talked about Kemp today. It's just so hard to stop the Wolfpack. Rugai in the backfield. He's been playing his football since his freshman year. 4 years of varsity football. Rugai again, short gain, good push from the offensive line and more yards.
And a 2nd effort, 5 yards.
This offensive line for St. Ignatius here just
7
relentless.
yards. Tackled by 27, Ahmed Shinnick.
Shinnick got credit for the tackle. And partner, I know I've said it before, I'll say it again. You're going to have to cheat the linebackers in and allow one-on-one coverage for the wide receivers because they just don't pass the ball a lot. There's no reason to have zone coverage on defense because they don't pass.
You definitely want to stack the box here. Try and counter that run.
Also got to know that Petro has fumbled the ball today, so one tackle, the other guy, the old peanut punch to punch that ball out. 2nd and 3, ball at the 46. Handoff, Rugai's got room to run, and he got the first.
Carry, tackled by 21, Ryder Ryan.
Justin Scott in the game at right tackle.
These St. Ignatius rushers just doing such a good job of getting to the 2nd level and making the linebackers or defensive backs make a one-on-one tackle.
1st down, Wolfpack at the down, 46.
Partner, if you're Michael Hennessy and this coaching staff for Notre Dame, would you consider calling a timeout soon? I know it's early in the 2nd half, but if St. Ignatius scores again, especially a touchdown, it almost feels like the game is over. Do you really feel confident that your defense is going to stop St. Ignatius?
Definitely if this St. Ignatius offense keeps running the ball the way they have so far on this drive, consider calling a timeout here and resetting on the defensive side.
Run to Connor, got a couple yards.
Connor on the carry.
You got to think, too, if it's 17-6, assuming Helms makes the extra point. Extra points are never guaranteed in football, by the way. We saw it for Notre Dame. But if the Wolfpack make it 17-6, even if the Dons were to make it 17-13, does Notre Dame have enough on defense to stop the Wolfpack once the Wolfpack get the ball back?
Yeah, it's definitely tough. St. Ignatius has been running the ball today very well.
Petro on the keeper, and he's tripped up
on the keeper
with 7:18 to go.
Tackled by 33 Fornelli.
Fornelli, man, he's been all over the field. He has at least 5 tackles. He has kept the Dons in this game with his open field tackling.
39.
Are you surprised Petro's not wearing a glove on his left hand, considering how cold it is today?
Definitely a little surprised, but as you see some of these players out here not wearing any sleeves, any leg sleeves or anything. Like I've been saying, their adrenaline's pumping today. Big 6A quarterfinal game. They're not cold out there.
3rd and 2. They run it to Deach. He's got blockers in front. Still on his feet. At the 20. At the 10. First and goal for the Wolfpack. Man, when they need that jet sweep, not only do they get yardage, partner, but they get a chunk of yardage.
Yeah, just a great run right there on the jet sweep. Outstanding job getting to the outside. Great job from the blocking right there by St. Ignatius. Exactly what you want to do if you're the Wolfpack right there, first down.
I think it's 4 down territory, partner, but if it's like 4th and goal at the 5, I would consider kicking. How about you?
You definitely want to see what happens here on these next couple downs. I'd say anything from the 3 and inside is 4th down territory. Try and put Notre Dame away here.
Rugai again, close to the goal line. Touchdown, Rugai! That was impressive. Deach with a huge jet sweep to set up the touchdown for Vinny Rugai, and the senior leader scores to make it 16-6.
Just a great run right there by Rugai. St. Ignatius putting on a clinic right there. Driving all the way down the field, not having to pass the ball once.
Imagine if a Bears game was like that.
Wouldn't that be nice?
16-6. It's all Wolfpack today. Blaskovich on the hold. The kick by Helms is straight through. 17-6. We'll see what adjustments the Dons make on defense. They get the ball, but we'll take a break first. It's the Dons against the Wolfpack here on Sports Broadcast Solutions.
Hey, this is Sarah Greenfalk, owner of PsychEdge. How would you like to learn how to manage your emotions and reactions in order to enhance your performance and be successful in life? I coach and counsel student athletes, performers, and professionals, giving them the mental skills and mindsets to build confidence and resilience. My background in physical therapy, massage therapy, personal training, and 15 years of counseling give my clients an advantage. So if you are wanting to be
Tomei, deep for the Dons.
Jackson and Tomei are deep for the Dons. Helms will kick. 17-6 with 6:11 to go in the 3rd quarter. We do apologize, Prounce Ricciardi, not Ricciardi.
10-yard run up the middle by Vinny Rugai.
Not a great pop kick, but it's touched, and they'll run with it at the 20. Partner, that's not a good decision. It looked like that ball was going to go out of bounds. It would have been 1st and 10 to 35 for the Dons.
Yeah, definitely a tough decision right there. When the ball's kicked up in the air to the outback like that. Potentially could have maybe let it go out of bounds, but at the end of the day, you don't want to let it sit in bounds and potentially have St. Ignatius, those gunners running downfield, pick it up.
Injury on the field. We're going to take a break, then we'll let you know who's injured. You're watching the Wolfpack against the Dons here on SBS.
Hey, this is Sarah Greenfalk here of PsychEdge. Do you want to learn how to improve your performance, improve your confidence, improve your resilience? Coming this fall, PsychEdge is releasing 5 workshop classes that will give you the skills to accomplish your goals with increased confidence and resilience. This is your opportunity to learn all the main psychological pieces of mental training in one place, plus the process I've developed to build these skills. Go to my website, psychedge.club, and sign up for my monthly blog emails, which will include the updates on the class release.
Well, partner, if the Edwin Diaz theme music won't get you pumped up, nothing will. Did you know that? This is his theme music whenever he saves a game for the New York Mets.
Oh, yeah. Edwin Diaz coming in to close.
Well, we didn't get a number for the injured player, but meanwhile, the Dons are going to try to reset their offense. And partner, that missed extra point was so huge because even if they get the field goal, they're still down a touchdown and a 2-point conversion.
Yeah, definitely consider if you're Notre Dame. Big drive right here. If you can punch it in the end zone, you want to consider going for 2.
26-yard line.
How many possessions are you going to have left in this game? That's the question, because the Wolfpack run the ball the entire game. Pressure comes. Good screen pass. Out to the right. Blockers in front. And he's brought down about 3 yards short of the first. Justin Scott delivered the pressure inside the pocket.
Yeah, St. Ignatius taking off almost 6 minutes on that last drive.
Just so hard to stop the Wolfpack. The Dons need 11 points to tie. They've only led briefly in this game. They led 6-3, and then Petro went down the field, mostly on his own with some passing and running. He did fumble the ball, but the Wolfpack got it back near midfield. Shotgun to Ricciardi, and he might have lost yardage.
At the line.
Text line open at 330-957-7653. Your favorite high school, college, or NFL memory. And by the way, it's not just for St. Ignatius fans. The Notre Dame fans can text as well. We're all friends here.
3rd and 4 for the Dons.
St. Ignatius student manager of data and media, Will Hoey, class of 23, watching and working from LA. Shotgun. Ricciardi in the pocket. He's no longer in the pocket, and he's sacked. But there's a flag. Could be face mask against the Wolfpack.
A great job by that Wolfpack defensive line getting to the quarterback right there. We'll see what the penalty marker on the field is. Should be an interesting call here.
The fans say no way. Let's see what the fans say. Yep. Face mask against the Wolfpack. What a break that is for the Dons.
It is a face mask indeed here, and these fans at Fornelli Field, especially in the student section, are not happy about that one.
What that also does, partner, is it stops the clock and it lets the Dons kind of readjust, take a breath, be like, the game's not over yet. It feels like it, but at the end of the day, we're only down 11. Even though the St. Ignatius has dominated, because we got that touchback, it's 17-6 and not 24-6.
Definitely. That touchback earlier in the game on that first drive by St. Ignatius looking pretty big for Notre Dame right now. Big drive right here. Hopefully they could put it in the end zone if you're a Notre Dame fan.
Shotgun formation, three wide receivers. 2 in the backfield. Ricciardi, terrible snap. Handoff, and he just dives for positive yardage, does Ricciardi. Partner, I think they got to start doing some snaps under center. The shotgun's not working right now.
Yeah, definitely if you're Notre Dame's coaching staff, you're considering it.
I mean, that almost went over the quarterback's head. One thing the Dons can't have is a turnover. Giving the ball back to the Wolfpack past the 40-yard line is just not going to do. Scott, the 5-star recruit, on the line. They move into defensive end. They're going to split the wide receivers. 3 to the left, 1 to the right. Clean pocket for Ricciardi. He scans to the right, and he gets it to his man.
Good throw right there on the sidelines. Good catch. Should be right in front of the first down marker.
Durkin's been his favorite target.
3rd and a yard. the Don 49-yard line.
I mean, this is an impressive Notre Dame team, partner. They beat St. Pat's 35-14. That loss helped knock St. Patrick out of the playoffs. St. Pat's, of course, went to the quarterfinals last year. Shotgun. Fakes the pass. It's going nowhere fast. Sacked behind the line of scrimmage. Rugai was there along with Mateo Jones.
Great job by the Wolfpack defense right there on the pressure.
It was a good idea, partner, just not good blocking from the offensive line for Notre Dame. It was a slow developing play, and when it's slow developing, you need better pass blocking there.
Definitely, yeah. That's why sometimes you might want to consider taking the ball from snap under center.
43-yard line.
Here we go, 3rd and 7, ball at the 43. Now 4th and 7. 4th and 7. Punt formation for the Dons. Might be a fake, but they're going to punt it instead. Good punt. It's a line drive out to the 30. And a lot of Dons there to greet Deach.
Deach fields the punts down.
Deach gets maybe a yard on the return. It's the drive of the game right here, partner. We'll stick with the action as well. If you give up a touchdown, game's basically over. If you give up 3, you're down 2 touchdowns, but that's asking a lot of Ricciardi to go down the field and score 2 touchdowns. So really, you got to get the ball back without giving up any points.
Definitely, yeah. That would be tough with the way that the St. Ignatius Wolfpack defense have been playing today. Now, if you're Niles Notre Dame, you need to stop here.
Petro, the senior quarterback, having a heck of a game. They fake it out, and it's a pitch to the left. Connor with a stutter step move down the sideline, pushed out of bounds.
A carry, knocked out of bounds by number 5, Cam Van Horn.
Cam Van Horn knocked him out, but not before Connor gained a lot of yardage.
Great run by Connor. He's been doing a great job running to the outside all game.
Ball spotted at the Wolfpack 38-yard line. First down, Wolfpack.
Both teams have all 3 timeouts. You got to think Notre Dame's going to call one sooner more than later. Try to give a breather to their defensive players. Bloss in motion. They're going to pass it this time. Petro in the pocket. He's got a wide open man. Connor catches it and he's down. But that's all right, partner. You just wanted the completion. Touchdown pass would have been nice, but just looking for the first down. Good job by Connor, diving for it and getting the catch.
Definitely. Great job right there by Connor getting wide open.
But that's what Notre Dame's got to do, partner. You can't stop the run. You're just going to have to stack the box and hope they don't pass. Well, that was practically a backbreaker for the Notre Dame fans, but if you can get a 4th down, I don't think Helms is going to kick unless it's inside the 20. Bloss in motion. They run it to Rugai. Right up the middle, gets a couple of yards.
Rugai up the middle. There's a flag.
Late flag on the play. Usually when it's called, it's illegal motion or procedure against the Wolfpack. Face mask against the Dons.
Against the defense.
Both teams are cheating, and both referees are telling the fans that they're cheating. Inside the 20, it's definitely within Helms' range for a kick, but the Wolfpack thinking 6 and thinking about putting this game on ice, literally and figuratively.
First and 2.
The Wolfpack are in the red zone. Ball at the 19. Rugai in the backfield as they've got a 2 tight end set here. Now they move Deach over to the right. And illegal motion against the Wolfpack. Well, partner, the triple option is so confusing. Sometimes the team that runs the triple option doesn't know what's going on.
Definitely, yeah. That triple option offense is a little bit confusing.
Motion on the
Sometimes
offense.
even confuse the own offense.
Yeah, it was pretty confusing. They had Deach on the right, then they moved him left, and they had 2 tight ends, and they had 3 tight ends. Maybe getting a little too complicated for high schoolers to know what's going on, but
it is now 1st and 7.
Definitely some interesting formations there for St. Ignatius.
So they're going to say 1st and 7 for the Wolfpack. That's a very strange down and distance. You don't see 1st and 7 every day.
Definitely not too often.
Ball at the 24. Most likely going to be a run, but you're at the right spot of the field for a pass. Bloss in motion, Rugai again. Rugai with room to run. Touchdown, 23. Touchdown, Rugai. And that should do it. The Wolfpack go up 23-6. Pending the extra point, they could be up as many as 18. Carter, what can you say? This Wolfpack team never quits. They just keep coming at you and coming at you. They don't stop what they're doing. They play their game, not the other team's game, and eventually Rugai breaks off a big run like that.
And that was the game plan for this St. Ignatius offense. I'm sure all week the coaching staff has been saying we're going to run the ball, we're going to try and wear them down, and by the end of the third quarter, that triple option offense is bound to have a few breakthrough.
24-6. 24-6, not looking good for the Dons. We'll see if they can come back from a 3-possession lead. You're watching the Dons against the Wolfpack here on Sports Broadcast Solutions.
Missing your child's sporting event just plain stinks. But you don't have to worry about that anymore, thanks to Sports Broadcast Solutions. SBS is a live broadcasting network, as well as covering your on-demand needs, recruiting videos, highlight reels, and much, much more. We can broadcast live to any website, and we also post as much on-demand content as you need. For more information about SBS, check out our website at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com. Sports Broadcast Solutions, a broadcasting network for everyone.
Well, it's up to the Ricciardi brothers. Mama's probably watching, and Mama's not too happy right now. But you know what? The game's not over yet, partner. But I don't know if Notre Dame can score 3 times. Not only do they have to score 3 times, partner, but they got to stop St. Ignatius from scoring any more points.
Definitely. And St. Ignatius is just going to stick to their game plan. They're going to do as much as they can to run out the clock.
This time they say to have it go out of bounds. At times it takes a St. Ignatius hop to stay in. And a huge hit. Well, they took my advice the second time. You were right, partner. Sometimes it takes that friendly St. Ignatius hop and stays in bounds.
Definitely.
23-yard line.
And that's exactly what happened right there. So no choice but to pick it up and try and gain as much as you can. Too late to call the fair catch at that point.
Down 18. It's not every play you have to pass, but if you score, you know, midway through the fourth quarter to make it 24-14 or whatever, I think you'll have to do the onside kick unless you can score quickly here.
Definitely onside kick is in play here. We'll start off with the run.
Ricciardi on the keeper.
Partner, I know we talked about the St. Ignatius offense, but it's time to start talking about this defense. The Dons have not been able to do anything offensively today except for a couple of quarterback sneaks and, of course, that run by Ricciardi on 4th and short.
Yeah, this St. Ignatius defense just relentless all game. Done a really good job of holding Niles Notre Dame to short gains.
They dominated Deerfield, 48-21. In fact, the first play from scrimmage, 53 yards from Rugai. They dominated Grace Lake Central, 49-13, and now they're starting to dominate Notre Dame College Prep. Shotgun formation in the pocket, looks downfield, one-on-one coverage to Williamson, and Williamson wanted a flag, nothing going to be issued.
Incomplete.
Surprising no call there from the officials.
On the coverage.
A lot of contact. They will let them play on.
Yeah, I thought that there was defensive PI. The other issue is, too, partner, it's not NFL rules. Even if they call that, it's only 15 more yards for Notre Dame.
Right.
The NFL, that's such a bigger call than at the high school level.
Definitely.
Down 24.
And down 18, you really need 3 touchdowns or, 2 touchdowns, a 2-point conversion, and a field goal. Decent snap that time. Over to the left to Ricciardi as the Ricciardi brothers connect from quarterback to scatback. 1st and 10.
gain of 11, first down.
That was good. Good quarterback to wide receiver connection. The problem is, partner, we haven't seen consistency with that with the Ricciardi brothers.
Definitely good little pitch and catch right there. Now as Notre Dame will try and do that as much as they can for the rest of the game.
Winner goes to the semifinals. Handoff to Ricciardi with room to run, and he's brought out of bounds. Initial tackle by Rugai.
Great blocking right there from the pulling guard in Notre Dame.
Brought down by Rugai.
What a game by Belts. We've seen some deflections, some big tackles. He helps out with Rugai on that tackle.
Good for a first down. At the down 48-yard line.
I don't know, partner. I don't know if any team can stop this triple option. We'll see next week, assuming St. Ignatius holds on for this win, but man, is it impressive to watch. Fakes the handoff. Out to the right on the pass, and it's a tackle for loss.
Great open field tackle.
Complete to Jackson, covered by Tony Tirado.
Jackson slow to get up.
On the field.
You hate to see it.
Another injury for Notre Dame.
I hate to use the cliche punched in the mouth, but I mean, that's what it feels like, right? We've seen a couple of Notre Dame players already go to the turf, leaving the game early. It's just such a hard team to match up for with St. Ignatius. Everything they do is completely different from any other team in both the public leagues and the Chicago Catholic League.
Definitely, very physical team. The defensive looked great all game. Interesting offense. Not a lot of teams who play this season have seen an offense like this. Hopefully number 6 is all right.
That's Quentin Jackson. He had a heck of a game when they beat Antioch. 6 catches in that game. Well, Notre Dame, they played a couple of public league teams. Notre Dame, the 8th seed at 8-3. They beat Antioch 28-7. They defeated, who they defeat? They defeated Wakanda, the number 1 seed in this side of the bracket, 17-8. But today, after leading 6-3, it's 21 unanswered points for the Wolfpack.
You got to wonder, Kyle, like you were saying, if last week took a lot out of them emotionally and physically, beating the number 1 seed in Wakanda for Notre Dame.
It's hard to get to the semifinals, so let's give credit where credit is due. It looked like St. Ignatius was going to go to the semifinals last year. They go 8-1, almost 9-0. They win their first round game against Bremen, then they get upset by Crete Moni. Anything is possible at the high school level. So St. Ignatius, they had a mission statement right after they lost to Crete Moni. It's not going to happen again, and man, oh man, not only have they won, but they've looked impressive these entire playoffs.
Definitely, and they've looked great so far this season. They really clearly came into this year with a chip on their shoulders, saying last year we had a great year, but we didn't accomplish the ultimate goal, which is the state championship, and that's what they'll look to do this year. Doing a great job of achieving that goal today.
I'll let you answer this one, partner. My friends are in a hit debate. What's a better duo, Leo and Vinny Rugai or Eli and Peyton Manning?
It definitely looks like today. Looks like Leo and Vinny Rugai.
Leo graduated a couple years ago. Very good quarterback running the triple option. Clean pocket, screen pass out to the right with room to run. And he'll get the first.
It's a good play design right there from the Now's Notre Dame coaching staff.
Well, the Dons have some life, but they got to score 18 points. And that'll stop the clock, so they'll get one more play in. Notre Dame not showing a sense of urgency. They'll let the clock run out. And that will do it for the third quarter. Fourth quarter coming up next. Unless something crazy happens, the Wolfpack are going to the semifinals. 12 minutes of football remaining here on SBS, a broadcasting network for everyone.
Sports Broadcast Solutions is a broadcasting network for everyone. Let SBS broadcast your sporting event. We have experience and can generate excitement and permanent digital memories for your team.
Tonight. That time, finally a goal for the Stampede!
We have professional videographers using high-definition modern-day cameras, color analysts, and play-by-play announcers with state-of-the-art, classy graphical scoreboards to keep you updated. Plus, we have commercials to advertise your team, club, or sponsor, and us. Plus, we do pregame and postgame interviews.
Hi, everybody, and welcome to the postgame show. First and 10 at the 38 for the Notre Dame Fighting Dons. They need at least 3 scores to force overtime or take the lead. Williamson in motion. It's a little pop pass to Williamson. He lost yardage. Rugai again. Nope, sorry, it was Toronto.
Howard Williamson on the carry. A loss 3.
I like the play call, though, partner. It was unique, but Toronto just got instant penetration.
Yeah, good play call right there. Great play by Toronto to shut down a little momentum for Notre Dame. Let's see what they've got dialed up here on 2nd and long.
Well, partner, you need 3 scores. Regardless, unless you score in the next 2 minutes, I think you got to do the onside kick. So would you consider 3 points, or is it 4 down territory?
I definitely think every play here is 4 down territory.
Little handoff to Tomei, and Tomei is hit close to the original line of scrimmage. Rugai was there, as was Deach.
Gain of 2.
I think what's so fun about watching the Wolfpack, everybody contributes. It's always a team effort. It's not one guy. Obviously, Rugai gets credit for the touchdowns, but Emmett Rhodes at center, Stiegletter on the offensive line, Petro the quarterback. Everybody contributes. It really is 22 men doing their jobs.
And that's what wins state championships, and that's why St. Ignatius has done such a great job today, is because they play great team football.
Ricciardi on the quarterback sneak. Got to be careful there, partner. No need to push him out, as Ricciardi was clearly giving himself up. Don't want to put yourself in a spot where you have a personal foul there.
Definitely not.
4th down and 7. The Wolfpack 35.
Well, you're down 3 scores. If you were down 2 scores, you could probably consider the field goal, but down 3, you got to go for it. And you expect the safeties to be right at the line of scrimmage to deliver the hit.
These fans at Fornelli Field getting loud here on 4th and 7.
Got to get to the 28 to keep the drive alive. Good snap. Ricciardi in the pocket. Fly route down the sideline. And knocked away by Kemp. Good defense. No DPI. And the Wolfpack get the ball back with the exclamation point on a very impressive quarterfinal potential victory.
Yeah, these quarterbacks for St. Ignatius today have played a very good game. Not letting up much to the outside with these Notre Dame receivers.
Wolfpack begin their drive at the 135-yard line.
They sure do have unique music. We've had some old school from the 2000s, some dubstep, some DDR. We've had John Denver, and then we get some rap.
It's definitely exciting here at Fornelli Field.
Definitely unique.
We're right here in front of the St. Ignatius sidelines. They're amped up. Student section's having a great time.
Right up the middle. 2 men behind him, including Van Horn. Will they catch him? They won't. Touchdown, Rugai. The onslaught is on, partner. 30-6.
Wow, and you can really tell St. Ignatius came out of the second half on a mission. They have done exactly what they've wanted to do so far in this second half. Touchdown, Wolfpack.
The semifinal will either be here at Fornelli or on the road in Crystal Lake.
Somebody get Henry Helms.
And Henry Helms isn't ready, so they might just have to take the flag for delay a game or just go for 2. And Helms, I don't know what's going on, but he's not ready to kick. I don't know what happened, but Helms was not ready for the PAT, and now he is. Blaskovich will hold. Helms will try to make it 31-6, and he will.
Henry Helms' kick is good.
Wow. 31-6, that should do it. We'll take a break. The Wolfpack in full control here on SBS, a broadcasting network for everyone.
This is Sports Broadcast Solutions, a broadcasting network for everyone. Check us out at sportsbroadcastsolutions.com and become part of the digital sporting world.
Partner, it's 31-6, but let's give credit to this Notre Dame team. They weren't expected to go this far. They upset Wakanda. I talked to fans though before the game. 5 days is just not enough to prep for St. Ignatius, a team that goes under center, doesn't do anything shotgun, only passes when they need to. It's just so different for these other teams to game plan for.
Definitely, and you've got to expect that St. Ignatius has been running their scout team offense with the triple option all week, but at the end of the day, when you haven't seen too much triple option offense this season, it's a lot tougher to game plan for than just the regular spread that you're used to seeing on a week-to-week basis.
Don't go anywhere. The post-game show brought to you by Sports Broadcast Solutions. I don't even know who we're going to interview, partner. I kind of want to interview this entire offensive line. They were impressive for St. Ignatius today.
Oh, definitely.
Helms will kick. It's a decent one, but it will not go into the end zone. And it'll be a return for the Dons. Gets to about the 20.
Yeah, you really could post-game interview all 22 of these St. Ignatius starters. It's been just an overall team effort for St. Ignatius. They came out ready to play at home today, and it shows on the scoreboard.
If I had to pick one player, obviously Rugai, but Rugai is the star, and he would get a game ball every game because he's so good. But Nikolai Belts, number 27, under the radar type of cornerback, played his heart out tonight, and some big deflections kind of changed the complexion of the game, especially that deflection on third. No, that was Rugai, but Belts had some other deflections that changed the complexion of this game and really put the Notre Dame Dons in a tough spot where they had to be in a lot of passing situations. Handoff as Ricciardi gets out to the left. That'll stop the clock briefly.
Correction, 25, Tome.
As you're wondering if the Hennessy is going to go to his bench. And he will. Coleman McDonough will enter at quarterback, the former Wolfpack. He was good last year, by the way. He came in for an injured Petro. He was great against De La Salle. Tried to win the job. He didn't. As he'll roll outside the pocket. First and 10 and more for the Dons. Look at that. Lowering his shoulder.
Complete the number 20, Matt Relman.
Matt Relman with the stiff arm and a beauty.
Beats on the coverage. Gain of 15.
Nice job right there by Relman getting open.
At their own 40-yard line.
If you can score in the next 2 minutes, I think you still go for it. You do the onside kick. Anything can happen, of course, and then you try to score quickly again, but down so many points, you're going to have to get back-to-back onside kicks to make this one interesting.
Definitely.
McDonough under center. Slow developing play.
Pass for number 3.
Partner, that's such a hard pass to complete, as he was more to the left than the right. He's trying to complete it across his body to the right. That's more of an NFL throw than a high school football throw.
Yeah, tough throw right there for the quarterback.
2nd and 10 for the Dons at their own 40.
Especially throwing to that wide side of the field. Trying to find something on the corner.
Impressive. Notre Dame beat the number 1 seed last week, but Vinny Rugai, the all-time leading rusher at St. Ignatius, had some tricks up his sleeve on both sides of the ball. Handoff up the middle.
Ricciardi on the carry.
A big congratulations to the Dons for getting this far.
33, Emmett Callahan.
Came in as a little bit of an underdog. They had a home game as the 8th seed against Antioch, then went on the road to Wakanda, back on the road to Fornelli Field, and it's been an unforgiving place here in Chicago.
41.
Knock on wood, the Wolfpack have not lost here this year.
They've played great at home, and this crowd really started to show up as the game progressed. Student sections over there having a great time.
Which is interesting because it got colder as the game progressed. McDonough rolls outside the pocket.
McDonough's pass intended for 44, Will Meyer.
Even if he completed it to Meyer, he wasn't going to get much on the reception.
Should be 4th down territory for the Dons here. We'll see what they do.
The game seems over, so I think they're just going to punt. You could do a fake, I guess, but
82, Ryan Hammer on.
I think you're just delaying the inevitable. It's going to be a Wolfpack victory.
Back deep for the Wolfpack.
They're going to punt. Almost blocked it. It's a short punt. As Helm says to get away from it. And it'll be touched by the Dons inside the 40.
Wolfpack begin their drive at their own 37-yard line.
See if Petro comes back out at quarterback. He will not. That's fun for these guys that don't get to play a lot. It's a blowout game, so now they get to play. They'll keep Scott at offensive line, and Petro comes out late. You got to think about next week too, partner. You can't be scared in taking players out. You can't think, oh, he's going to get injured if I keep him in. But you know the game's starting to get away from Notre Dame. Maybe consider, if you're St. Ignatius, putting some of the backups in.
Definitely.
Handoff up the middle.
Barnett on the carry.
Barnett gets a couple of yards.
Gain of 7.
You've got to believe St. Ignatius is just looking to run the clock out here.
If you're wondering, Zamora is the backup. We've seen him a lot this year because St. Ignatius just blows out teams. They blew out Marvin. They blew out DePaul College Prep. What a game here at Fornelli. Rugai on the score sheet and the box score is going to tell you that he was the best player, but this was all 22 players combining for an all-team effort tonight. Up the middle for Barnett again.
Barnett on the carry. Close to the first down.
Barnett will graduate next year. He's from Catherine Cook. He's actually pretty good. He just doesn't get the ball out because of how good Vinny Rugai is. As clock continues to run. Kind of surprised Petro's still in. Now they're going to do an all-out blitz as Notre Dame. Barnett again, he's tripped up almost immediately after getting the ball. He was tripped up by James Keenan. Second and 8, well, second and 9 coming up for the Wolfpack.
And St. Ignatius will look to just run their offense here, close this game out, and advance to the semifinals.
Will Sienna, Emmett Rhodes, Justin Scott, and Jake Rothbury.
If you're just joining us, this game was once 6-3.
Second string, congratulations.
It, of course, is no longer 6-3. 28 unanswered points by St. Ignatius. Look at that. Every time they think they have the ball carrier down, Albert Connor with a couple extra yards. It's been like that for every tailback. And in fact, they haven't used Kemp a lot today because they haven't needed to. That's what's so impressive about St. Ignatius College Prep.
It's a great job by these rushers here for St. Ignatius.
3rd and 2.
Keep those legs churning.
As they're shouting, "We want McCormick" on the St. Ignatius sideline. Up the middle again for Barnett. He's an impressive player, partner. He's not as fast as Rugai, but he hits the hole with a full head of steam and reckless abandon.
Down to the Dons, 37-yard line.
Partner, the Wolfpack are so impressive. They're not even trying to score, and they're still going right down the field with ease.
Just such a hard offense to stop, especially when you're not used to seeing it. St. Ignatius came in today with a great game plan and have executed it to perfection.
Barnett again, he's been the workhorse on this drive. And it's a jet sweep for the Wolfpack. Good blocking out in front. And a 1st and 10 and more for St. Ignatius. Jake Stevenson with a great
21 right,
jet sweep.
Gain of 15, first down for the Wolfpack. First down Wolfpack at the Don 21-yard line.
By the way, partner, this was not a perfect game for the Wolfpack. They got lucky on that Petro fumble. He's got to be better. I still think he scored. I don't think it was a fumble for the touchback, but he's got to be better holding on to that ball. And he knows that. Handoff and a small gain. And I think that's why he's still in the game, because I know it's because Matt Miller knows it's going to be cold next week, regardless if it's in Chicago or Crystal Lake. Get your quarterback accustomed to handling the ball in the cold.
Definitely. Keep getting your quarterback some snaps. Keep getting them experience in a playoff atmosphere.
Now, obviously, since they're up by 25 points, no need to do any more quarterback keepers. But you know, he's going to have to hand it off and throw the ball next week in the cold. So keep getting him accustomed to the cold weather. They might go to Zamora in the next minute or so.
15 at the Don 25-yard line.
Notre Dame, meanwhile, might call a timeout soon to tell the players it was a fun season and try to get some of the seniors out there that don't normally play, as St. Ignatius is going to the round of 4. Handoff. Barnett again. Everything's been positive yardage for him.
6.
Why don't we live in Phoenix, partner?
Yeah.
33, Fornelli.
Like I was saying in the press box at halftime, just mentally we're in Phoenix. In reality, we're in the west side of Chicago, Illinois.
Who's better, Leo or Vinny from 312 area code?
10 at the Don 20-yard line.
You know, Leo played baseball, so I think Leo might be the better athlete, but Vinny Rugai's the better football player. I don't think Vinny plays another sport, but I haven't interviewed him in a while, so. 630 area code. MVP is Justin Scott. Little jet sweep, tackled behind the line of scrimmage.
Tony caught in the backfield by number 8, Owen Keeney.
The 630 area code brings up a good point. Every time they run the jet sweep, the lead blocker is the 5-star recruit in Scott. So when you got a guy that's 310 pounds, over 6 feet tall, it does help. But I will give credit to Emmett Rhodes, who's also getting D1 looks from Purdue. It's been an entire team effort on the offensive line, but yes, it does help with Justin Scott at right or left tackle.
Definitely, and he's just done an outstanding job today moving this defensive line back. The run blocking from St. Ignatius has just been near perfect today.
Emmett Rhodes back into the game. Played his prep ball at St. Edward. And look, if you're a Notre Dame fan, you got nothing to hang your head about. Everybody, the Wolfpack blew out everybody coming into today. The only time they lost is to Mount Carmel, who, by the way, might win the 7A championship with an undefeated record.
Definitely, that Mount Carmel team, very special this year.
Their enrollment, sometimes bigger than St. Ignatius. It's a powerhouse in Mount Carmel, led by head coach Jordan Lynch. And then St. Patrick beat them to start the year. Now, St. Patrick, an up-and-coming program, went to the quarterfinals last year. Surprisingly,
37-yard attempt.
Did not make the playoffs. And by the way, they're kicking this field goal not to rub it in. They're working on their field goals in case they need to do this next week. Good snap, good hold. Helms from 37, no good.
Slightly left.
Wide left. Good time to work on that, though, 31-6. Well, McDonough's in the game now at quarterback. You could try to run one more offensive set, but honestly, I think you just take a knee and shake hands. I don't think there's any point in running any more plays.
Definitely, 1 minute and 17 seconds left here. We'll see if Notre Dame wants to try and get one more touchdown on the board.
Well, not in victory formation, so it looks like they're going to try one more time. All the fans that came out here, we appreciate you. It's not the greatest weather. Shotgun snap and handoff off the shotgun.
Matt Roman on the carry.
Matt Roman didn't get much. It is impressive, though. Both teams from the Chicago Catholic League met in the round of 8. It just shows you how powerful this conference is.
Definitely the Chicago Catholic League, one of the best, if not the best conferences in IHSA for football, showing today why it's truly one of the most special high school football conferences in the nation.
And one of the reasons St. Ignatius is a 4 seed is because they lost to Mount Carmel. They play Mount Carmel, they play St. Rita, they play Loyola. It counts as a win-loss, right? And that's why the IHSA, and we'll stick with the action with 34 seconds left.
And that's one thing about the Catholic League is you're never going to get a week off.
Yeah.
Week in and week out, you're going to have tough competition every week.
So St. Ignatius is a 4 seed because they lost to Mount Carmel, they lost to St. Patrick, but you could argue that some of these teams that they lost to are better than the teams that Wakanda and Antioch and Grays Lake Central and Deerfield played. Not all the time, but sometimes.
Oh, definitely. That's a very valid point. When some of these schools are coming in, getting these higher seeds, you really got to look at who they've played throughout the season and how worthy they are of these high seeds, because St. Ignatius has had tough games week in and week out. And that's why these Chicago Catholic League teams do so well in the playoffs, is because they're used to playing big teams like this every week. They're used to having these big games. They take that experience and bring it to the playoffs, and it shows.
Handoff, a couple of good stutter step moves. Close to the first down marker. Did not get it. Clock runs, and unless they want to do the hurry up, that should do it for the game. The Wolfpack jumping up and down on the sideline and on the field.
The Don, 28-yard line.
The Don's considering what to do, and they'll just let the clock run. That does it. Wolfpack end the game on a 28-0 run to win 31-6. Partner, it was 10-6 at halftime, and then the Wolfpack, they had a mission and they achieved it.
Definitely. St. Ignatius came out at halftime looking to really put the hurt on Niles Notre Dame, and they did so. Great game from both teams. Very special season for Niles Notre Dame. Congratulations to St. Ignatius for advancing to the state semifinals. It should be a good one next week.
And look, this is a very under-the-radar 4 seed. They're a 4 seed because they lost to St. Patrick. They lost to Mount Carmel, but they're really a 2 seed with that strength of schedule.
Definitely.
So for Crystal Lake, who's the 2 seed, for Harlem, who's the 11 seed, just watch out, because St. Ignatius is coming for you, and they ain't going to stop unless you prove you can stop the run.
Definitely, and that's the thing. Once it gets deep into the playoffs like this, you just never know. Once it comes down to these final 8, final 4 teams, every team deserves to be there, and anything can really happen.
We'll see what happens for the Wolfpack next week. It'll either be here in Chicago or on the road in Crystal Lake. We'll take a break. Post-game show coming up next on SBS, a broadcasting network for everyone.
It's June 9, 2010. Game 6 of the Stanley Cup Final is taking place between the Chicago Blackhawks and the Philadelphia Flyers. The final result will be an overtime win in Philadelphia. If the Flyers end up victorious, they'll still have to win at Game 7 in Chicago. It's a 3-3 tie in the first overtime, meaning this has been a moderate offensive explosion with some decent defense and goaltending squeeze in between this hockey contest. This is a huge game for Blackhawks fans, as their favorite hockey team has been a laughingstock in the Western Conference for most of the previous decade. For the Flyers, they're looking to bring back Stanley Cup glory to the city of brotherly love for the first time since the 1970s. To truly understand the importance of what happens next, we need to hit that left button on the VCR. In other words, we need to rewind. The Blackhawks are an overtime goal away from cementing their legacy in NHL history, but for a franchise who used to not even televise its home games, this seemed like a pipe dream even 5 years ago. Known for his severe cheapness, Blackhawks former owner Bill Wirtz decided to cancel all home broadcast agreements with network and cable television outlets in 1992. According to Wirtz and the Wirtz Corporation as a whole, home broadcasts were, quote, unfair to the team's season ticket holders, unquote. And as crazy as this decision was by words, fan attendance increased during the mid-1990s. Incredibly, without normal home broadcasts and overall television brand awareness about the team, the Hawks averaged over 19,300 fans during the mid-1990s at the United Center. This is how it worked. WGN and other media outlets couldn't broadcast the Blackhawks games at the United Center. But if a national broadcasting network such as ESPN decided to telecast the game, a Blackhawk fan could purchase HawkVision, a subscription network worth $29.99 per month. Then you could watch the ESPN broadcast of Blackhawks vs. Red Wings at the United Center on normal cable television. It was pretty confusing, to be sure, and as you know, the internet wasn't big back then. If you were a big hockey fan and wanted to know about the Blackhawks, you either had to go to the game or wait for the hockey highlight on SportsCenter. Even then, hockey coverage wasn't big on ESPN, so it was in your best interest to purchase a ticket at the UC. So the fans kept supporting the Blackhawks even though they couldn't watch their favorite team on TV. However, the product on the ice wasn't so great. As if it were a curse from the hockey gods, the Hawks kept finding different ways to choke in the playoffs. An original six team, the Hawks were at one time the second most cursed original six franchise. The New York Rangers went titleless from 1940 until 1994, and the Hawks now find themselves in the same place as the Toronto Maple Leafs. The Maple Leafs and the Hawks have not hoisted Lord Stanley's Cup since the 1960s decade. For the Hawks, it's been even worse. They haven't won it all since 1961, and before that, Chicago went 23 years without hoisting the Cup. The Maple Leafs have been a borderline disaster since 1967, but at least the Leafs were a dynasty in the 60s. The Hawks were lucky to even win the 1961 Stanley Cup. So yeah, the Hawks have pretty much been mediocre or worse since 1961. However, there were moments when the franchise seemed destined for championship glory. The worst moment for Chicago hockey fans was the 1971 Stanley Cup Final against the hated Montreal Canadiens. Without air conditioning at Old Chicago Stadium, the Hawks were the home team during Game 7 of the Finals against the Canadiens. Jumping out to an early 2-0 lead, legendary netminder Tony Esposito couldn't stop Jacques Lamar's 60-foot-away snapshot, giving the Canadiens their first goal of the contest. Chicago Tribune writer Bob Verdi said there was a humid haze hung over the ice, but Esposito refused to blame the rink's lack of air conditioning on the soft goal he gave up. He had a point, since Lamar's shot was nearly from the center line. The Canadiens never looked back and scored twice more to upset the Hawks and win 3-2 on Chicago's home ice. Since then, the Hawks have never been closer to winning the Cup as they were that day in 1971. That is, until tonight anyway. As painful as it was in 1971, Hawks fans who were still alive in 1992 had to be devastated at what happened next to Ed Belfour and Dominik Hasek. Incredibly, Eddie the Eagle Belfour and Dominik the Dominator Hasek were both on the Blackhawks at the same time. Two future Hall of Fame goalies were both on the Hawks, and yet the franchise still couldn't win a Stanley Cup with either netminder. Belfour was the starter during the brief Belfour-Hasek years. The Hawks made the 1992 Stanley Cup championship round with Belfour and Hasek both on the roster. It was also a Chicago team with Chris Chelios leading the defensemen, and forward Jeremy Roenick was on this Hawks team as well. Led by captain Dirk Graham, the Hawks went on a very impressive winning streak in the playoffs. After falling to a 2-1 series deficit to the St. Louis Blues, the Hawks won their next 3 games against the Blues, as well as back-to-back series sweeps against the Detroit Red Wings and the Edmonton Oilers. Just like that, 11 consecutive victories saw the Blackhawks 4 wins away from ending up as the last team standing. The only team in their proverbial way, the NHL's version of the Super Mario Brothers, otherwise known as Mario Lemieux and Jaromir Jagr. The Pittsburgh Penguins were the defending Cup champions, and after narrowly beating the Washington Capitals in Game 7 during Round 1, the Pens found their way in the finals thanks to winning 8 of their last 10 games. Hasek was probably Chicago's better goalie entering the playoffs, as the Dominator earned all rookie honors and went 10-4-1 during his 15 starts between the pipes. Between a contract holdout from Belfour and Crazy Eddie missing games this season due to personal reasons, Hasek was turning into a fan favorite, while Belfour was the more controversial choice in net. However, head coach and general manager Mike Keenan stuck with Belfour throughout the playoffs. He turned out to be the best goaltender in the postseason, not named Tom Barrasso. The problem is Barrasso plays for Pittsburgh, so it was up to Roenick and company to find consistent offense against the Eastern Conference's best goalie. It looked like the Hawks had the Pens right where they wanted them when they took a 4-1 lead during Game 1. but the hockey gods haven't liked Chicago since 1961. Whenever the Hawks can blow a postseason lead during crunch time, they like to do it. The Pens scored 4 unanswered goals on their home ice, including the game winner with just 13 seconds left in OT. A crushing 5-4 loss for the Hawks, and they never rebounded from it. It was a sweep for the Pens as the Penguins celebrated their championship victory at Chicago Stadium. Hasek even showed during the series that he still had some raw rookie moments, but Belfour clearly wasn't himself. Hasek subbed in for Belfour in Game 4 after Eddie the Eagle gave up 2 goals on just 4 shots on goal. Keenan had a tough decision to make between keeping Hasek and Belfour, but with Belfour 1 year removed from winning the Vezina and Williams M. Jennings trophies for best goalie, Keenan had no choice but to allow Hasek to become expendable. The Sabres then cashed in on the young goalie's athleticism by fleecing the Hawks with a terrible trade request. The Sabres received a future Hall of Famer in Hasek, and the Blackhawks received just future draft considerations and a goalie in Stefan Beauregard, who never played a single minute in the goalie crease. The future draft considerations eventually led to the Hawks drafting Eric Daze in the 4th round. Daze became an all-star left winger, but serious back and herniated disc issues saw the team's promising winger limited to just 74 games in 3 seasons after his all-star game appearance in 2002. He retired after playing just 1 game in 2005. That being said, Keenan didn't want there to be a locker room controversy between Hasek and Belfour, and it's easy to say in hindsight when no one knew how great Hasek would become. Unfortunately, Belfour wouldn't even finish his career in Chicago. The Hawks were worried that he would re-sign with the team, so they shipped him off to San Jose for 3 players I personally never heard of until I Googled them. Ulf Dahlin, Michael Sikora, and Chris Terreri. Terreri was put in the very tough position of trying to fill Belfour's shoes in net, and he never got close to reaching Belfour's milestone achievements. Blackhawk fans kept asking themselves, is this team cursed? The 1999 Stanley Cup Final pitted Belfour against Hasek as the Dallas Stars took on the Buffalo Sabres. Belfour eventually won the cup over Hasek in the series, although Hasek won more cups than the Eagle once he began playing for the Red Wings. The Blackhawks managed just 1 more Western Conference Finals appearance with Belfour in net, and they wouldn't get back to the Western Conference Finals until last season. No one ever wishes someone to die, but success seemed to reach the Blackhawks once Bill Wirtz passed away from complications of cancer on September 26, 2007. His son, Rocky Wirtz, took over the team, and during their first season with Rocky as the CEO, the Hawks finished above 500 for the first time in 6 years. With John McDonough as the president and Joel Quenneville as the head coach, the Hawks made it back to the playoffs and finished in the Final Four. The Red Wings once again got in their way and easily took care of the Hawks 4-1 during the 2009 Western Conference Finals. Entering the 2009-10 season, the Hawks decided they need a veteran forward who could score goals and match up against their biggest rival, the Detroit Red Wings. Marian Hossa signed with the Blackhawks, giving the Hawks a formidable 1-2-3 punch on line 1 on Patrick Kane, Jonathan Taves, Marian Hossa. That is, if they ever needed to use all 3 guys on the power play. The Hawks were a tough team to beat in 2010, and they finished just 1 point shy of the Western Conference leading Sharks, but the Hawks were the better team in the Western Conference Finals and swept the Sharks to make it to the Stanley Cup Final. Their opponent was an unlikely one, the Philadelphia Flyers. Entering the playoffs as a 7th seed, the Flyers had little title aspirations, but after the top-seeded Capitals were stunned in round 1 to the 8th-seeded Canadiens, there was new hope in Philly. The Flyers looked dead in the water when they trailed 3-0 in the Eastern Conference semifinals, but Simon Gagne returned for Game 4, and they definitely needed him as Gagne scored in overtime to force a Game 5. Brian Boucher was excellent as the Flyers starting goalie during Game 5, but he had to leave the game early due to knee injuries. As such, Michael Layton finished off Game 5 as the Flyers' new goalie and preserved the 4-0 shutout. Layton then got the start in Game 6 as expected, and he made the most of his opportunity by being perfect through 59 minutes until the Boston Bruins scored late. It was still a 2-1 win for the Flyers, and wouldn't you know it, the Flyers had a chance to win Game 7 and come back from an insurmountable 3-0 deficit. The Bruins actually led 3-0 in Game 7 at the TD Garden in Boston, but they simply couldn't avoid a significantly embarrassing collapse. James Van Riemsdyk, who didn't score a single goal in the playoffs prior to tonight, netted a very important goal late in the first period to give his teammates new life and ending the shutout attempt. The Flyers then scored 3 more unanswered goals to win a surprising 4-3 Game 7 over the Bruins, becoming just the 3rd team in NHL history to come back from a 3-0 series deficit. In fact, This had only been done once in any other American professional sport besides hockey. The Boston Red Sox defeated the New York Yankees 4-3 during the 2004 American League Championship Series. And now the Flyers are back in the Stanley Cup Final for the first time since 1997, looking for their first championship since 1975. The 1997 Stanley Cup Final was very interesting since it pitted the Flyers against the Red Wings, with both teams being in the Eastern Time Zone. The Flyers got swept in that series, with fans questioning if the franchise made the right decision all those years ago when they traded for former #1 overall draft pick Eric Lindros. Lindros scored just once in that series against the Red Wings, and it cost the Flyers a lot just to acquire him. They sent the Quebec Nordiques 6 players, 2 first-round picks, and $15 million in cash for only Lindros. The Nordiques eventually moved to Colorado, with the future Hall of Famer in Forsberg helping the Colorado Avalanche win 2 Stanley Cup titles. What did Lindros contribute? Just 1 goal in his lone Stanley Cup final, and his constant bad luck of suffering concussions, he suffered 4 during his career in Philly, inevitably led to him being traded to the New York Rangers. The Lindros trade was a huge gamble for the Flyers, and it cost them much-needed role players they probably could have used during their playoff runs in the late 90s and early 2000s. However, the Flyers probably wouldn't have made it to the finals without Lindros in the lineup, so there's a lot of give and take when debating if Philly should have traded for the future Hall of Famer. In a weird twist of fate, the Rangers tried to trade for Lindros, which would have included goalie Mike Richter. Richter was huge down the stretch for the Rangers during the 1994 Stanley Cup Final, which they won, so Rangers fans are probably very happy with the trade with Philly that was finalized prior to the Rangers calling up the Nordiques. But the Flyers are finally back in the Stanley Cup Final, in large part due to the Flyers getting defenseman Chris Pronger in another blockbuster deal with Anaheim. It cost Philly 2 players and 2 first-round picks. History tells us that the Flyers love sacrificing the future for winning now, but this time around, it has paid its dividends in a big way. Pronger's 14 playoffs assists have allowed the Flyers to be 1 goal away from forcing a Game 7 in Chicago, their closest to a title in 35 years. The trade for Pronger was definitely an immediate success. Layton's 3 shutouts in the Eastern Conference Finals prove that he deserves to be in the league, but is he a franchise goalie? Not so much. One of the reasons that the Blackhawks are a goal away from the title is Layton can't recreate his magic from the previous round. In fact, Boucher relieved him in Game 2 and Game 5 due to erratic play, but head coach Peter Laviolette decided to stick with Layton in this pivotal Game 6. And to be honest, the Flyers felt comfortable about tonight. Both of their wins in the series were at home, and with the Hawks being led by 2 players under the age of 25 in Kane and Taves, they don't have a lot of experience in this pressure situation. It's up to former #1 overall draft pick Patrick Kane and Captain Taves to finish off the Flyers. Otherwise, it's back to Chicago for a winner-go-home Game 7, and Blackhawk fans know all too well how that panned out back in '71. All the pressure is really on the Hawks to close out Philly. They brought in Host to be that veteran leader when crap starts to hit the fan come playoff time, and he's been very meh in the playoffs. The star of the series has arguably been the former Flyer in Patrick Sharp, who entered tonight's overtime session of 4 goals, 2 assists, and a plus-minus of +7. Sharp knows all too well how this Blackhawks team has stunk over the years, as he joined the team during the 2006 season. With the Flyers scoring late in the 3rd period, thanks to the active stick of Scott.
Welcome to the post-game show brought to you by Sports Broadcast Solutions, a broadcasting network for everyone. I'm Kyle Smith, but I, of course, don't matter. Emmett Rones matters. A heck of a game, 31-6, as they advance to their first ever state semifinals. Emmett, it was 10-6 at halftime. What did head coach Matt Miller tell you guys? Because you guys put on quite a show in the second half.
He was just like, we made all the mistakes. We killed ourselves. We fumbled into the end zone. We had a penalty that made us kick a field goal. And he said, just focus on executing and doing the things we've been doing all year and all week and just go out there and have fun,
As a center, what do you usually do on those running plays? Do you pull or try to just, block straight up to give a nice A-gap hole for Vinny Rugai?
Yeah, I usually either block, just help combo either one of the guards, or I get up to second level and get a backer.
What a game from Vinny Rugai. It's always a great game for him, but everybody was producing. Belts, Torado. Wasn't Petro's great game, but when you needed a run for him, he was there for you.
Yeah, definitely. A complete effort from everyone. We had to throw the ball a little bit, which was always fun. But, yeah, everyone just played a hell of a game. Yeah.
Did you mock Albert Connor a little bit? Don't take a knee, man. You need to score that touchdown.
Yeah, if he would have just stayed up, he could have scored. But, we still won.
talk to me about what this means to this program. 31-6, first ever state semifinals, 1 win away from going to the University of Illinois for the state championship game.
Yeah, it means a lot. Coach Miller always talks about how when he first came here and they were struggling to win more than 2 games a year, and now we're winning 10+ games a year, and it's just great. It's like time of my life right now.
What's it like being the center for the triple option? It's unique. Not everybody does it, and you guys sure do a good job when you run it.
Yeah, I love it. Getting a block zone every play. There's nothing better than it. Nothing better.
So a lot of D1 schools been looking at you more as center or a long snapper?
Oh, long snapper. I've been talking to a couple schools for long snapping. Yeah.
What's kind of the difference between long snapping and playing the center position?
Well, it's really completely different. For long snapping, it's it has its whole separate technique for how you snap, and it's just that
Final thoughts about going to the state semifinals?
I'm just excited. We just gotta get to it this week, and give whoever wins our best shot.
That's Evan Rhodes, and that does it for our post-game show. So for our great crew today, John Gepner, and obviously Mark Ford on color duties, I'm Kyle Smith, signing off from Fornelli Field, and we'll see you next week for the state semifinals.